All right, people.
That's okay. If I shaved everything but my mustache, that's okay.
I got a little bit of
God damn it,
echo
I have to do
from
that.
somebody.
Yeah, that was my fault. If I shave off my beard and I just have my mustache, I fucking look like I look like a 70s
Me.
star.
I think it might be me.
No, it was me. It was me that was had the issue. I fixed it.
So, well, hold on.
I'm
I'll
coming.
go ahead and show everybody. Ta-da!
You look at the last time I saw Pickles all clean shaven.
Oh, you want to say hello?
All right, I'm fixed. Sorry.
Say.
Holy shit.
Hola.
Who the hell are you?
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Hello.
That's Romina, Mrs. Vile's niece. Say, hola, Romina. Say, hola. Or hello. Right. Go.
Yeah, she literally was like me boy.
Well,
like,
hello
what?
everyone. Everyone, Vile Mike's chin, everyone. Nice to meet
Both
you.
of them. You can see both of them. And is it? Hold on. I'm going to share one thing. Let's see. We'll just do that.
So you got
Hopefully that's
family
not-
over there, Mike? That why your niece is there?
Well, this is Mrs. Vile's house, so not Paint. I don't want Microsoft Paint to open the image. What the hell is wrong with you?
Wait a minute. Okay, now I'm completely confused.
What?
When you said this is Mrs. Vile's house.
Yes, I'm at Mrs. Vile's house right now. Why are you confused?
I guess I thought you guys lived together.
No, I live in the States. She lives in Tijuana. Well, it's funny you say that, Richie, because I thought I looked like somebody else, especially with these glasses. And I'm trying to share that.
No, you do not look like Brian Skelter. Nobody can look that bad as Brian Skelter can.
All right.
Okay, stupid question. So she lives in Tijuana. You live in California.
San Diego.
Yeah. Okay.
We're actually not married yet.
Yes, that was my bad for assuming that.
Don't get me wrong. I asked. She said no. I just want the picture. There. God dang it. Why was it taking so long?
That was funny.
There we go. I think I look closer to this guy.
Yeah, that's who it is. I knew I was trying to put you in there. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, wasn't he like the guy from Stargate for a while?
Yep.
A couple episodes of Stargate.
Martin Lloyd from Stargate. He played Mozzie in White Collar.
I mean, oh yeah, yeah. I loved White Collar. Although, to be honest, it was mostly for Tiffany Amber Thiessen.
Didn't he just die last year?
I don't know. Did he?
Oh wow!
Yeah, I think he passed away last year.
Oh God. Pickles is in a morbid mood, it seems.
September 21st, 2021.
Oh, that's sad.
I
Well,
couldn't
maybe I can play him when they finally reboot the show.
That would be an interesting clip. Hey guys, the movie's back on.
Howdy, Yvette. Did you happen to see the video, or did you miss it already? I'll play it again at the end of the hour. I'll just play it once every hour, just so everyone can see it. Because apparently trying to put it on YouTube is having issues right now. Well, for those that don't know, I've literally had my goatee, at least, since I was 12. This is only the 5th time I've been beardless in 25 years.
Yvette, I've got to say this, though. Tell your prince there just to shave all his hair off. It's inevitable he's going bald. He just needs to shave it all off and call it a day.
Which prince? Because I don't pay attention.
Prince William.
Nardale? Is it the same thing? Nope. Who's Nardale? Or Nardole?
Man, why does that sound so familiar? Nardole. That sounds so familiar now all of a sudden. Oh, God, because somebody...
Companion of the 12th Doctor.
Oh, that guy.
I still think I look more like Martin Lloyd.
Yeah, I would say he definitely... Hey, can we do a favor? Can we send Rob Reiner a goddamn script so he can direct something? So he stops with his... so he can get some help for his illness?
Why? What illness are you talking about?
His TDS, man.
TDS?
His Trump derangement syndrome.
Oh, God.
I serious. I was scrolling through Twitter and all of a sudden he popped up and I saw another thing about him bitching about Trump. And I'm just like, God, somebody give the guy a script so he can go direct something, please.
Well, maybe you can multitask, especially on Twitter.
Well, he's an older guy. I don't know if multitasking is something he knows how to do. I'm just saying. Somebody give the guy a script so he can talk about something else for once. I'm like, I don't even follow the guy. Somebody just I guess other people I follow him, and it pops up, and I'm just like, God, give this guy a script. Give him an acting job. Give him a directing job. Give him something to do.
As I said, you don't know that he's not.
When was the last time you heard of a Rob Reiner movie?
Well, let's find out.
Actually, that's what I was about to do. I wish to God I didn't like the guy. I can't stand the guy as an individual,
You know
but
who else you look like?
He's currently working on as narrator for something called Family Squares.
you've got to be joking. He's regulated to a game show.
I don't know what it is. It just says Family Squares. There's not a link to it. So, but that's what he's working on as an actor.
I wonder if that's a redoing of Hollywood Squares. You remember back in the day when they used to have Hollywood Squares?
Twat is for lovers, losers, losers.
No, but look at the movies he directed and worked on and acted in, and there's some really good ones, and it's just like, come on, dude. It's So get back into what you know how to do, because you're talking about politics. You're terrible at it. I'm sorry. Go make another Stand By Me or Sleepless in Seattle or something. Or not Sleepless in Seattle. Sorry, When Harry Met Sally. Let me get my shit right here.
You know, you vaguely look like the boss of Dick Van Dyke.
You're not one to talk, dude. I've seen you clean shaven, LDG.
What? I'm just saying who he looks like.
Yeah, and
It's
you
not a
look
bad
like
thing.
Yeah, and you look like someone that needs to be ID'd everywhere he goes when you're clean shaven.
Yeah.
Well, do I look younger?
Yeah, totally.
Actually, I
Look
think you look a
younger.
little. Actually, I think you look older.
Not when you make that face. No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you kind of
get
look a
the
little older there.
that looks like a face splat face, like you just roadkill face.
All these young bucks around here, I don't know what to do. They're so annoying with their Twitter and their TikToks and their bullshit.
And you got the Jerry Lawler chin.
The what?
Jerry Lawler,
Fat boy double chin.
WWE. I don't
I'm
know.
surprised
You
for as
just got
heavy
the-
as I've got. I'm surprised. I'm 260 and I haven't got a double chin yet. I'm actually rather surprised about that.
Well, what's funny is I've actually had a couple of people, including Mrs. Vile, say, "Have you lost weight recently?" And all my only response has been, "Not intentionally."
You say, yeah, did I forget the flush?
I'll be back in a few minutes, guys. I got to go feed the dogs. I just realized I got to go feed the mutts.
If anyone else wants to come up, the link should be pinned. And you can roast the beardless Vile one. I started watching House of the Dragon.
Okay.
Have you seen it yet?
Yvette says if you're still going, she'll come up after dinner. She said.
Okay. Well, I'll probably be going for at least 2 hours, if not longer. But so far, it's not bad. I'm not, that beard probably weighed 10 pounds.
Hey, Mike, I'll talk to you about House of the Dragon in a minute. Just let me feed the dogs, and I'll bring that up because actually, I'm caught up on the episodes.
I'm caught up to episode 4. I don't know how many have come out so far. But I also watched season 2 of Stargirl finally, the one that actually aired on CW. And actually, I thought it was pretty good.
They're only up to season 2 of that?
No, they just started to release season 3, which is why I went to catch up.
I was gonna say. All right. Yeah, I just got caught up to Cobra Kai. I'm on episode 6, season 5. I binge watched
I haven't gone back to watch
because
that
I didn't
yet,
watch anything.
but I'm probably going to next.
It's a great show. It's just I haven't seen any of it. I had to start from episode 1.
I know. Didn't we watch
Literally.
watch episode 1 and 2 together?
Yeah.
Yep. But Stargirl was not bad. I was actually kind of impressed with it. It's funny when it needs to be. It's dramatic when it needs to be. It's not as cliched as the other CW, DC shows. I'm pretty sure that it's pissing off a lot of people anyway. Especially with the diversity casting. Oh, no. Even though that's exactly what happened in the comic books. Have you watched it at all, LDG?
No, Stargirl I have no interest in.
Well, are you a comic book guy at all?
Yeah, just didn't follow Stargirl at all.
Well, do you remember the old DC comics where they had the original Green Lantern, the Alan Scott version, Dr. Midnight, the the Jay Garrick version of Flash.
Yeah.
Basically, it's those characters as if they were from the late 90s, early 2000s ish, instead of the 50s. And a bunch of teenagers that are taking up their mantles. So you have Our Man's son taking over his role. The main character taking over Starman's position as Starman, Stargirl. A new Dr. Midnight so far. And it's fairly interesting because they literally turned the main villain of season 1 into a kind of a leftist villain, because his entire goal was to brainwash people into accepting green energy, no longer being bigots, supporting of anti-capitalist things. That it was just kind of funny. But the cost of it would have been the deaths of 1/4 of the people they were trying to brainwash. So it was just kind of funny how it was just the villain was a leftist villain. So you have essentially leftists fighting leftists. And I still know it pissed off the conservatives, or at least the diehards.
What pissed me off?
Stargirl.
Stargirl.
Did you see it? Because season 3 is starting to drop now, so I went to catch up on it because I'd only seen season 1. But we're obviously talking about the first season.
Dude, I didn't even know there was a Stargirl show. I think I heard about it, but nothing I'm watching.
It was originally only on the DC streaming service for season 1.
Let me guess, it's on HBO Max now.
No, it's on CW. CW bought it to put with their other DC related shows.
CW could afford that? I thought they were sold.
Apparently, they're the ones putting out season 3, and they put out season 2. So, but the main villain of season 1 is his whole goal is to brainwash people into accepting green energy, no longer being bigoted, and reducing capitalism.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
So, as I said, he's a leftist villain, but because he's still a villain, their goal is to brainwash 125 million people, where 25 million of those people will die.
Doesn't sound like a very good ratio.
But what's funny is, of course, the good guys were like, well, isn't that a good thing? And then, of course, once they realize 25 million people will die, they, of course, go to stop it. But, of course, the good guys themselves are, second-generation heroes of traditional DC 50s era heroes. Our Man, Green Lantern, Starman, or at least Star Spangled Kid back then. And all of them, or most of them, have been, because they're second generation, are either the kids or taking up the mantle, essentially. So instead of Starman, it's now Stargirl. Dr. Midnight, instead of being a white guy, is now a black girl. Our Man, which was a white guy, is still a white guy. His son is white. Green Lantern's daughter is half Asian, so instead of it being a white guy, it's now a half Asian girl.
Which Green Lantern?
Alan Scott.
Thought they made Alan Scott gay.
I don't know if they ever did, but I know that in the comic books he had a son and a daughter.
I thought when they rebooted the New 52 back in the time they made Alan, they brought back Alan Scott, but I thought they made him gay. But anyway, I'm gonna be completely fucking honest. I haven't kept up with mainstream comics since 2011. I've only pretty much kept up with
Okay,
indie stuff.
hold on. I'm gonna. According to the HBO Max, the upcoming Green Lantern series from Arrowverse Architect, that Alan Scott will be gay. But this is the original. This is supposed to be a play off of the original Alan Scott, who had 2 kids.
Okay. So the
So,
original Green. I mean, I know Alan Scott is the OG Green Lantern, not related to the Green Lantern Corps.
well, in the comic books, they eventually made him related to them.
Oh, they
In fact,
did?
his daughter Jade, which is absorbs his powers. Oh,
Is somebody about to smack LDG?
I hope so. Someone just came in behind him.
Yeah, I know. I'm just waiting for like a good slap.
I know.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything about Stargirl. This is something I've been trying to explain to my son. I still have trouble getting it through his head sometimes. Just because we're fans of comics doesn't mean we know everything about every goddamn character. I told my son, I said, yes, I read comics, but I said, you have to understand, I had a very select, we all kind of had our own, comics we went to. Like, I was in the 90s, so I was the 80s and 90s. So a lot of my stuff was Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, Jim Lee's run on X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really big in the Avengers because
Same here, actually.
Well, like the problem with the Avengers comic was it was always different characters each week, where at least in the Jim Lee X-Men, you had, like X-Men Red, X-Men Blue, or something like that. You had X-Force, X-Factor. You knew what, generally what group you were getting. But what killed me in the 90s, really, with comics, for the biggest reason, was all the crossovers. I was a big Amazing Spider-Man fan, especially during McFarlane's run, and which I didn't know at the time because I didn't keep up with that stuff. But then it was like, oh, continues in Spectacular Spider-Man. You go get Spectacular Spider-Man. Oh, continues in Web of Spider-Man. Oh,
that was one of the things I hated the most. Ironically, what got me into comic books was the Clone Saga for Spider-Man, because I wanted to know what the hell was going on.
Oh, the one with when Ben Reilly shows up. Okay.
Yes.
Now that was actually. Oh, I'm sorry, Mike.
You can get to keep talking. I muted myself because a plane was going overhead.
I was wondering about that. I want to make sure you could hear. I actually thought that Ben Reilly edition was rather impressive. What really I loved in the early 90s was the and people somehow seem to forget it because they like to bring up Miles Morales. And I'm like, okay, there was also Miguel O'Hare, Spider-Man 2099, which was actually my favorite of the 2099 comics, was Miguel O'Hare.
Him and Doom. I like Doom,
yes,
2099 too.
Yeah, hold on a second. I gotta deal with it. I got to deal with a little spaz. What do you want? Come here, you little spazzy spaz. You little spazzy. See this? This is what I got to deal with right now. Little spazzy spaz here. Just a big old puppy who just wants some loving. Just wants some loving. Aww. Yeah, you got full belly now. You got full belly. You're so happy now. Okay, Maxine. Okay, Maxine, get down, you silly girl. I'm still mad at you for chewing on my glasses.
I keep going like this, and it's like it's weird because I can feel it.
Oh, I know.
Uh,
Oh, I know. Okay.
And so often I would-
I'm gonna have to keep going. I'll be back. I got to deal with the kid. Ow! Damn it! What is wrong with you?
He's a liberal. That's what's wrong. He's attacking you. All right, but
He's a she, by the way.
gee, sorry. But yeah, what got me into comics was the whole Clone Saga, but it was going to Comic-Con and stuff like that to actually try to find all the comics, and I would, because of that, it introduced me to Daredevil, because you'd have to go to a Daredevil comic, and then you'd have to go to an X-Men comic, and then you'd have to go to, they had the Web of Spider-Man, they had Peter Parker Spider-Man, they had Spectacular Spider-Man, they had Amazing Spider-Man. And with all the crossovers during the Clone Saga, it just opened up Marvel for me. And by chance, when I was looking for some of the comic books related to that, I found the Amalgam stuff. And the Amalgam stuff led me to DC. And I started reading a lot of DC and going to the comic book shops in my area. And because a lot of the older comic books were virtually worthless, the comic book store that I went to would pretty much give us kids a bunch of the old, like 60s, 70s, and 80s Marvel and DC stuff, including Justice Society. So I learned who Alan Scott was and stuff like that.
God, I remember comic book stores back in the day. I remember there was, Malibu was trying to do something. There was another company that tried to do a couple things. It really was Image that kind of became the breakout third party, for lack of a better term. But I'll tell you this, in 2011, when I started reading some of the New 52, I thought, oh, okay, they're rebooting this stuff. Maybe I'll be interested in some of it. Yeah, I come to find out, no, I really wasn't happy with it. And I started going to looking, I actually went to the comic, which I was, older now. I was so much older at that point in 2011. I was, 31. And I just asked the guy at the catch, I was like, do you have any non-mainstream comics you would recommend? And the first one he recommended to me was, actually, he gave me a fucking list. First one was Walking Dead. Second one was Sandman.
Oh, no.
Sorry, I muted myself because driver going by.
Oh, God. How do you say slow the fuck down in Spanish?
So
It's not
what's
slowing
going
down.
on with the chip?
What's going on? Oh, nothing
The
so
chip.
far. I still have it. I'm just not doing anything with it yet. Maybe I can convince.
Did you make any more donations?
No, but I also don't know if I hit 500 now, I would do it.
What? You too scared?
After seeing you again, but the fear of a burning asshole in me.
I told you it wasn't the asshole that burnt. It was pissing that burnt.
Oh, that scares me. And yes, Bird, at the top of the hour, I will play the video again, and you will see the responses from Caddy, my stepmother, the younger Vile kid's mom, and of course Frankie's at the end, which was the funniest one of all.
You know, if
And
you
now
have
we got
any,
those.
if you have any, what do you call those kidney stones? It'll atomize any kidney stones you have.
So it's funny that Bird actually mentions Caddy. When she was, I want to say 5 or 6 years old, I was in my my first major relationship after her mom. And after that failed, I decided I needed a big change. So I shaved off my beard and my mustache. And Stephanie, well, sorry, I said her real name. Caddy refused to call me dad without facial hair because she said I no longer looked like her dad. So, but yeah, I've only ever done this. This is the 5th time in 25 years. Once at the end of my senior year, because my mom wanted my senior picture to be of her baby. So she asked me if I'd shave it for my senior picture, which I did. Next time was the time I just told you when she was about 5 or 6. Once for Mrs. Vile a couple years ago, and this time, and I know there was one other time, I just can't remember when it was. You no longer look like Vile Mike. What should we call you? I'm still Vile Mike. I don't know what you're talking about. See?
I don't mean to say, this is funny. The White House actually put out a receipt for yesterday talking about the national gas price average, the number of days declining, the decline since June. Average monthly savings on 2 cars is $140 a month. Yeah, I'm like, I'm not seeing how this is a win because I just filled up my gas tank yesterday. And instead of it being $115, it was only $98, as opposed to 2.5 years ago, it was $65. I'm not seeing the win. Come on, Democrats. I thought you said the adults were in the House now.
Get a hydroelectric car.
Yeah, but remember, gas prices are set on a world stage, not just on a local stage.
Fuck the world. I don't care about the world stage. Fuck them. Glass them all. I ain't got time to worry about what their problems are. We got 50 states, a goddamn bunch of territories to worry about. We ain't got time for other people's shit. We got to deal with Canada giving us grief. We got to deal with Mexico giving us grief. We got to deal with all that other stuff. Come on. Come on, man.
What's kind of funny is, MB, is we're actually still exporting more oil than we're importing.
No.
Yeah. We've been doing that since basically ever since the last year of Obama's presidency. We've been exporting more than we've been importing, and that was including under all 4 years of Trump.
Well, here's my crazy question. Why are gas prices basically as high as they were back when it was like, well, you remember this, Mike. Remember back, you were in California at the time. Remember back when gas was almost $5 back in like 2008, not 8.
During
but
the recession?
Like, yeah, it was like, what was it? 8 through, not 8, but like 2010. We were going through like gas just skyrocketed to where we were paying over. I think where I lived, it peaked at like $5.35.
What are you talking about?
Solar and geothermal cars are the future. Okay. Well, according to Gavin Newsom, they are. California's going to need to get their infrastructure up and running a lot better.
While I applaud his sentiment, it's not going to be possible without that infrastructure. And the problem is the electric companies, due to federal regulations, have no incentive to improve the current infrastructure unless they're building new stuff. And the problem is the building of the new stuff needs to be reliant on the old stuff still working, and they're not working on that, which pisses me off.
What's the
And those are federal
population?
guidelines, not state.
What's the population of California now? I mean, you're the highest populated state in America, correct?
Yes.
So I don't know. I didn't know. I don't know how many cars are in California, but even if okay, let's just go for an example. You know, I'm not going to get into the left versus right bullshit.
Oh,
Just
and there's about 40 million.
let's think about this. Even if
the population is about 40 million.
Well, let's think about the infrastructure here. Even if people buy these electric cars, we both know California has brownouts that happen at times. The infrastructure isn't in place, and I don't just mean on the state levels. The gas stations aren't set up for this kind of infrastructure, and they're going to have to, in order to accommodate that, they'd have to pay to have that stuff put in. That's another cost on them. That's another addition to the infrastructure of the state of California, because now you're adding more stuff to the grid on top of what's going in residentially, but also commercially. But the biggest thing is when you look at, the farming, the trucks that come in, those things really haven't been set up yet to really be. Look, I live around farm country here in Indiana. You know what everything runs on? Diesel. I have not seen Tesla put out a electric powered tractor trailer or any of the other stuff they use around here. I'm just like, look, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm sure eventually it'll go. It might be the future, but it's going to be something that's going to take some while. Cinnabon, if you're talking about lithium batteries, yeah, just don't get them wet.
You mean don't expose them to air?
No, you can expose a lithium battery to air. You just don't want to get it wet.
If you expose them to air, they explode and catch fire.
No, it doesn't.
Have you never busted open a lithium battery?
What are you talking about? I was the hazmat guy in my unit for 3.5 years. I worked with lithium batteries on a daily basis. I worked with all kinds of lithium batteries.
Oh, I thought Jedi Bill was saying help. I was like, uh-oh, Jedi Bill needs help. Now, as I said, the infrastructure for that needs to be put in place well before anything else. And we need to really work on the infrastructure, especially in something like California, before we try to do that kind of stuff. We need to reopen or build new nuclear power plants. Even this close to the San Andreas Fault, we can make them safe enough that nothing bad is ever going to happen. Then you use particle accelerators to re-enrich any used uranium. You supplement that with solar, hydro, anything, wind. That way, it's a net benefit. And hell, for California, we also need to be working on desalination plants.
The what?
Desalination plants.
I'm not familiar with that term.
Basically, turning salt water into fresh water.
Ah.
We have one here in San Diego. I think it's the only one in California. I want to make sure I'm saying that correctly. California. Okay, there are a few, but there's the one I'm talking about is the Carlsbad one. The main issue that people have with the desalination plants is they're taking away beachfront property. Speaking of fault lines, if you live near one earthquake area, then download MyShake app. It's free, only app that predicts earthquakes. Predicts is a strong word when it comes to earthquakes. You need
I
to
used to live
you
in
need to do
Florida.
the ultrasonics.
Shit, where I lived in Florida, I lived right near the New Mandarin fault line. Yes, folks, we do have earthquakes over here in the Midwest. It's not a California thing only.
Gorilla, you need to look more into the thorium salt reactors because the one they built up in, I think it was Morocco, isn't really doing all that much, and it's very reliant on the regular solar and the coal plants nearby. Not the coal plants, but traditional power generation nearby.
Oh, and of course, Eli, who has to point out there is a difference between a P and an S wave.
Yes, that's why I said they have to focus on the ultrasonics.
Well, he is a scientist. Or at least he stayed at enough Holiday Inn Expresses.
That's a joke that only certain people are going to get.
I know.
I make that joke in front of my kids. They'll be like, "Huh? I don't get it."
I thought there was a fun one since you brought that up. There was a fun one. I was listening to an interview with Travis Tritt, a country singer from, famous during the 80s and 90s. He's still around, but he's not, top billing like he used to. And he was doing a concert, and his kids were there, and he could see the wheel. He said he could see the wheels in the back of his kids' heads turning. And he's like, "Okay, guys, you got a question. What is your question?" Because I can tell he goes, "Dad, you were singing this song, and the song was, 'Here's a quarter, call someone who cares.' Like, why would you need to pay to call someone?" It's like if the kids don't understand what a payphone is.
Oh no. I made my kids, or at least I tried to get my kids to watch a clip of a video from a film from 1920. I can't remember the name of it, but it was one of those noir type films. And
I love
the guy says to a lady, "Here's a nickel. Call someone who, basically call someone who cares." And they did know what a payphone was, but they were like, "Why would it only cost a nickel?"
Well, if you remember back in the day too, that there was it changed up because it used to be, you dime someone out, man. You put 10 cents in the payphone and you dime them out. You made a call on them. Okay, LDJ,
Right back.
we gotta talk about this crow image here. Yes, I know what the crow is.
It's labeled clown.
Need to tone down the background just a little bit.
Yeah, it's just the lights, I know. Oh, yeah, that's beard. Cute. It just makes it darker.
Actually, actually you can't even tell you have a beard on with that one, with the crow.
I'm a furry. Yeah, this is a good one. I like this one. We'll save this one.
There is such a joke here, but I'm not going to say it.
Meow.
Okay, I'm back.
There is such a joke here, Mike.
The fact that LDG was a pussy.
Well, we all knew he was a pussy, but damn, he had to go and confirm it.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
Oh God, that reminds me of the thing I posted. Hold on, see if I can find it real quick.
Try harder. Oh.
Well, unfortunately, it's not on this computer, so I got to find where I posted it.
Why is it that the Shrek face actually seems to fit him eerily well? Especially with his beard.
I'm still confused about why he uses the filters so much.
I think he's compensating. I think he has self-esteem issues.
Well, the only people I know that use the filters as much as LDG are my kids. And they're teenage girls for the most part.
Ouch.
So what?
So he's saying you act like a teenage girl.
Yes.
Only the teenage girls you know.
Yes, as in my three
we're
teenage
all
daughters.
Excuse me, but the only teenage girls we should probably know about at our age are our kids or, whatever friends they're hanging out with.
Exactly.
Children of our family members. Because if we know some random teenager that what's his name guy is going to be at our door real soon. All of a sudden, you're gonna get a call. You're gonna walk in. Hi, how you doing? Oh shit! Next thing you know, you walk it out your door. There are cops there dragging your ass out. My wife showed me this thing. Some guy at one of our old bases got busted for child porn, and I'm like, as much as a computer guy as I am, I remember somebody talking to me. I was like, how do these people think they're going to get away with this with our technology? And they're like, well, one of the guys was like, well, what they do is this. I'm like, I don't want to know how this process works. I'm like, let me be clear. I don't want to know. I'm like, there are certain things I want to be ignorant of. I'm sorry, but how people find stuff on the dark internet is not an area I want to know about. I don't need that 411.
Sorry, that's what I was thinking about when he did the Grinch.
Oh, I saw this one. Oh, yeah, I remember this one. Is this on your Facebook page?
Facebook and Twitter. Well, LDG, we knew you were a brown noser. You didn't have to turn into a dog to prove it. Dark internet. It's the dark web.
You can call it the dark web. You can call it the dark internet. Just keep me away from it. I want nothing to do with it. That'd be like a sign. You're entering the dark web now. Okay, how do I delete this out? Okay, let me go into my protocol settings, block that protocol, block that IP. You know what? Let me go in here and just set up a few more blocks along the way. Where's my Cisco router? I'm pretty sure one time LDG got so caught up in his security, he blocked everything from the internet, I'll bet.
And Mrs. Vile is in the house. Well, she's in the house, and she's in the house. As in the stream chat thing. Yeah.
Is it Marso Cassandra?
Cardenas.
Okay. Told you, man, my Spanish is rusty as hell.
You can't access the dark web without a special browser. That's not really true, Yvette.
I don't know that.
How you doing, Elihu?
Hey, Nardole.
Right.
No, it's Martin Lloyd. Thank you very much.
I still say Nardole. That's what I came to my mind when I saw that.
Oh, come on. Just admit you're wrong for once, Elihu. He looks like
Elihu.
guy.
Did you see the latest? Did you see that I got you an intro the next time you come on?
No, you didn't. I didn't see that.
Well,
Yeah.
hold on.
Next time you come on.
If Mrs. Vile is listening, maybe she can bring me some more coffee. Love you, babe.
That coffee better come with a slap across the head.
Oh, really? Look,
Yeah.
check
Well,
out
I
what
brought her
got.
coffee. I don't know if she noticed when she got out of bed that I made coffee for her.
Look what I got.
What is that?
Cannabis infused coffee.
Oh, God.
Wait a minute. You're so hung up on your coffee you have to import it from Canada.
No, it's
Dude,
cannabis.
it's marijuana coffee, dude.
It's cannabis
Oh.
infused, not Canada. It's cannabis infused coffee.
It's not
Canada.
regular coffee. Yeah.
Cannabis infused coffee. I might actually check if my dispensary has those for their edibles.
Actually, dude,
Oh,
you might
that-
want to check and see if they have these. Hang on a second.
Sorry.
Let me show you those little packages. So hang on, let me find it. Go
Is it because I'm Mexican or is it because I'm a woman? What are you talking about? Is it because I asked for coffee then?
Shit, where the hell did I just do with my little here it is. Okay, this is called ouch. Yeah, it's called ouch. It's called a strain spirits called Pure Wana. You basically it's 100% resin. You mix it in a fruit or drink. Look at the little pouch right here. Mix it in a fruit or drink. Non-alcohol,
Maybe,
not putting in alcohol.
Shoot me a link of that stuff, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll see if mine. Maybe I'll see if mine has it. I think what she was saying is you asked her to get a cup of coffee. So is she your waitress because she's Mexican, or just because she's a woman and you're a white guy?
No, it's because hopefully she loves me and she saw that I brought her coffee before I went live, and hopefully that she'll appreciate it. And because I'm live and I'm running low on coffee, she'll be so sweet and lovely and brings me some more coffee.
Dude, that's why you gotta have the coffee pot right next to you.
Well, I'm outside so I can smoke. So
I think you're allowed to smoke indoors in Mexico.
I'm not smoking in the house because it's their house.
I'm just messing with you, bud.
It's also why I don't smoke at where I live, because it's not, it's not actually my house. I rent a room.
I
Which is
used
why-
to smoke.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, I used to smoke a lot in the places, even when I rented them, but that was generally because I was allowed to smoke in them. And it wasn't until after my daughter was born, I started smoking outside. Actually, when my ex-wife was pregnant is when I started smoking outside. And eventually I went to vaping. Oh, God, 10, 11 years ago? I don't remember anymore.
Dude, you know how hard it is to find a smoking room in Vegas?
What? You're
Yeah.
joking, right?
No. When I was booking my little mini vacation, all I could find was non-smoking rooms, non-smoking rooms, non-smoking, non-smoking.
I'm sorry. Everyone just focus on this because that just looks wrong.
Okay. No. I need to unsee this. I need
Baby
to
with-
unsee this.
A baby with a beard. Yeah, that's weird.
This is going to be in my nightmares. Thank you very much, LDG.
Oh my
That
gosh.
needs to be clipped. Somebody needs to clip that fucking thing.
Where's your pacifier?
Actually, yep. I took a clip of it. I'm putting this on Twitter now. Baby pickles.
Oh God.
So he's a gherkin. Okay.
I don't know if I would post it under the thing baby pickles because that might put you on a watch list.
Oh God. Okay. Give me a caption that'll work for this.
I'm not awake.
Yeah, I don't need my look, man. I've been able to manage to have this account, which is my 6th Twitter account, not get nuked yet. I really would prefer not to get nuked because there are actually people who would probably believe this is a baby.
And the last time I got dinged on Twitter was when the Queen died.
What'd you do?
The
I've
voice
only ever been dinged once on Twitter, and it was because I insulted somebody and they got pissy at me.
the tweet of God, the famous God account on Twitter. When the day the Queen was basically got that emergency medical thing, right? The guy tweeted something along the lines of, "She's lived long enough, so kill her already," right? And I go, "Yeah, kill her off enough, kill her already. She's been long enough, something like that, right?" And I got flagged for that.
Well, I could see why you got flagged for that. Although, granted, they'll let people say that kind of stuff about people like me, and it'll be totally fine. And
All right.
my last account,
Well, we're at the first hour, so I'm gonna go ahead and play the video again, and then that way people who haven't seen it can see it again. And I'm going to try to get some more coffee in case Mrs. Vile. Hopefully she's already started it, but I'm gonna go get some more. So enjoy the video of Mrs. Vile shaving me bald again.
Hey, I remember that dork. He's got the baby face. Oh, look at that cute little baby face. Well, we got somebody up here who actually has facial hair. Hey, Darren.
Hey, NB. Hey, attention getter. Hey, Elihu. Hey, scrotum.
I
What's
thought he was
up?
going to call me attention getter for a second. I'm like, what the fuck?
So that's for everyone who hadn't seen it yet.
Well, DG, I didn't realize. shit, I guess when I finally got this account reset up, I hadn't been following you. No wonder I couldn't find your ass. And I mean, it is a pretty big ass, so you know.
And here's
hear you,
LDG
man.
throwing on his special gimmicks to try to draw attention away from Vile Mike's new face, which is kind of what this stream is all about. It's very selfish of him, actually. He can't hear me because his headset isn't on. But you know,
I can't
that's
hear you
why he's
because of
doing
what?
this.
No, he's
No,
talking about
LDG
Pickle.
can't hear me. Talking about LDG, he can't hear because he's clearly not wearing his headset. But the only reason he's doing all these facial gimmicks is because he's jealous of all the attention, Mike, that you're getting right now on your stream, which is all about your new face.
Hence the hashtag Florida man.
Oh God, this is too funny. I gotta share this. I just
You posted on Twitter.
some from
already?
Twitter, just some from Twitter ripping on Disney. I just thought this was fucking funny.
What'd you find?
Oh yeah, there's an old Yeller one too.
Well, did you see
Yeah,
one of the
there's
ones
a-
I posted? That Mrs.
I
Wild
might
sent me?
have. I probably did, Mike.
Let me see if I can find it again.
There's an old Yeller one where it's a black lab.
I gotta laugh at this stuff.
I can't tell what that is.
Jetpacks now available to the general public. This is a company called Gravity Industries showcasing one of their models.
Oh, groovy. Please tell me it explodes.
I like the Air Force's jetpack better.
All right, sorry, I'm back. Oh, hey, Darren, what up, Eli?
He's on a crane.
Please tell me he's gonna hit.
The Air Force is better.
You know, what's so funny is, you know, we expect people in flying suits to fly like superheroes, but no, the human body was meant to stand, you know, meant to be vertical when it travels. So, you know, essentially lying down on your stomach while you're flying is not really how it would go.
Well, I know back in the day, because it was easier for people to handle G-forces on their bellies, there were experimental aircraft that had the pilots laying down.
I'm talking
I can't
about
remember one offhand.
I
Superman,
remember
right?
that from
Right.
a long time ago.
Superman would be incredibly uncomfortable if he was flying like that. Even though he's got super strength and everything, it's still, you know, it's gonna do things to your back and neck, especially the way he flies. You know, but this is how, you know, essentially beings would fly. They would just kind of hang there in the air, dangling.
What is Eli? Are you trying to
Weird
share the
position.
same thing essentially?
I got a better version, a better jetpack.
I'm not that interested.
It's actually on Navy.
But let me see if I can.
Anybody remember that Batman villain Egghead?
Yes.
Vincent Price, yes.
Or no, maybe it was an Avengers villain. Yeah, I think it was an Avengers villain. Comics.
Oh shit!
Did you see this one?
Spanish.
The joke is people who are concerned about a white Little Mermaid. Well, Blanca sounds like Blanca, which is female white person or female
Yeah.
white.
Yeah.
So that's the joke.
It's Spanish, so I mean.
I thought it was funny. You had to explain it to me, but I thought it was funny once it was.
But you didn't catch the fact that Blanca was in there. You know, Blanca from.
Well, I got Blanca, but I didn't get why it was Blanca as a mermaid until she explained it to me.
Oh, you didn't realize Blanca means white girl?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, it's
well,
with a C,
remember,
though,
I mean,
instead
the
of a
general.
K.
Well,
It's a phonetic difference.
Yeah.
Well, it's also pretty easy to figure it out. If it's got the O at the end, that's generally masculine. If it's got an A at the end, it means it's feminine.
Well, yeah, but I should have figured it out, especially because one of the reasons I quit McDonald's back when I worked for them back in college was because one of the managers was kind of bigoted, and she called me El Nino Blanco behind my back, assuming I didn't speak any Spanish whatsoever.
Little white boy.
Yeah.
What'd you do? Just call it gordita.
Well, I know Nino is little, but where's the boy part?
Well, Nino
Nino
means
is
little
boy.
boy.
Nino is boy.
Nino, yeah.
So calling him.
Oh, okay. So
sorry,
yeah,
sorry. My translation should have been the white boy.
Yeah,
Because
in
El
Spanish,
Nino Blanco means translates to the white boy.
Actually,
in
I
Spanish
thought it
and
was the
English,
boy of white.
the adjective goes
Mhm.
before the noun in Spanish. Goes after
Right,
the noun in
right.
Spanish.
It's
Yeah,
like that with
Spanish
most
isn't
languages.
racist like American is.
It's like it's no, it's sexist though.
That too.
The predicate going before the subject or after the subject. Yeah, before the subject is
The
a
scripter.
trait of most languages except
Yeah.
for English.
Preceding goes before the antecedent. Yeah. Basically.
Well, the main example would be, a simple example would be, okay, I'm wearing a black shirt. I would just say black shirt. If you say it in Spanish, it'd be camiseta negro. Or as
Shirt of
Mike
Shirt black.
case, it would be camiseta azul
Shirt
instead of
black.
blue shirt.
There was this gal at work named Brianna Gonzalez who I used to call her a loca polka Brianna. She didn't know what it meant at first.
Did you actually call that manager out on calling you the white boy?
Basically, I cussed her out in Spanish, making sure she realized I did understand enough Spanish, and then I quit.
I was watching an interesting video sometime back, and it had this American girl who was very fluent in many, many different languages. And she said, she wanted to go around and figure out if people really were talking about them. And she did a video. It was interesting because she did one video where she was in Russia, and there were these Russian guys, and they were like, they said, "Do you think the Canadian girl would take a picture with us?" And she realized they were talking about her, and she said in Russian, "I'm American, but yeah, I'll take a picture with you." And they were rather surprised that she knew what she was saying. And then you had another part of that video where she was going to a Chinatown restaurant somewhere, speaking very fluent Chinese, and the whole fucking place gets quiet. And she kind of points at it. She's like, everybody got quiet.
Why do people freak out when somebody who is not that ethnicity speaks that language? Why does somebody freak out? I'm like,
because they can't speak privately in public anymore. That's why.
I think that is the case.
Ooh, wow.
My friend Nikki, as I've mentioned before, is a translator for the German ambassador to the UN. She speaks like 25 different languages, most of them fluently. And she said that the only area in the entire planet where that type of stuff doesn't happen is when she visits San Diego or Los Angeles.
Probably, where it's not surprising that people know what you. Actually, no. If you think about it, that would make sense.
But the thing is, she spends most of her time either in New York or in Germany or Great Britain, or not Great Britain, UK. But whenever she's come to San Diego, and unfortunately she hasn't come to San Diego in the last 7 years, because she's freaking amazing. She'll just talk. When she hears someone talking in a language, she'll just turn to them and start talking to them in their own language, and it's just amazing because she just knows so many freaking languages. It's freaking nuts. Took her down to Little Italy, and she's talking to the people in Italian. Take her down to see the Midway, and she's freaking talking Chinese to the Chinese people. It's freaking weird.
I think it comes down to that, and I'm going to say this. I think there's some of it is a little arrogance in that Americans, we expect everyone to know English, even when we go to other places.
Well, the first few generations of immigrants were expected to, and they actually prepared ahead of time. No wonder we expect that.
I always hated that when people say, "This is America, speak English." I always hated that.
Being in the military, I was around a lot of. I mean, you want to talk about diversity? I was around a lot of diversity, including people from other countries. We had guys from Africa. We had guys from Russia. We had guys from Ecuador.
Shut up, Yvette's on.
So let people finish talking. Please carry on, Grandpa.
Well, I have found it interesting one time. I asked these two ladies at my work, who I know both spoke fluent Spanish, but unlike other people, they never spoke Spanish to each other. They only spoke English. And I asked them one time, I said, "Hey, I'm just curious. I know you both speak Spanish. I've heard you speak it. But I was like, how come you guys don't speak it to each other?" And they explained to me there is a difference in the dialect and certain things between Hispanic Cuban and Hispanic Mexican. They said it just doesn't, it's hard for them to sometimes translate with each other with the way they talk.
Castilian.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's Castilian.
Mrs. Wiles had to
It's
explain to
like
me
pure
some of the
Spanish,
idioms.
isn't it? Sorry.
I was just saying, Mrs. Wiles had to explain to me some of the idioms for Mexican Spanish and how it's different from, the northern Mexican Spanish has different idioms than southern Mexican Spanish. And of course, that means they have different idioms from other areas that speak Spanish, just like the same way that, me and Yvette will have different idioms
Yeah.
because of where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Or hell,
Well, how
even
about
NB and I might have different idioms because of where he is and where I am.
Coke, Pepsi,
Well-
soda, pop. Yeah.
I
Soda,
have plenty
pop,
with all
Coke,
the Americans, I can assure you.
or in the fact that somebody actually said to me the other day, they go, "Oh, bless your heart for saying that." I'm like, I lived in the South long enough. I know you're insulting me.
Yeah,
Well, usually it's bless your little heart. I think
Yeah.
is what
Bless your
No,
little
that's
heart.
that's
Little
when it's
heart.
that's when it's really like they want to cut into you. There's bless your heart and there's bless your little heart, which means like you've gone from being a fucking idiot to a very fucking idiot.
It's a term of endearment here, though.
Bless your heart.
Hmm.
Not here. At least not in the South. It is a flat out insult. It is basically meaning you're an idiot.
yeah. It's basically
It's
a
that-
polite way of saying "f you."
It's that
Wow.
classic Southern passive aggression.
If you
So-
came over and said that to someone you thought was an idiot, they thought you'd been really nice to them.
That's part of it.
It's,
Yeah.
it's a secret. It's a secret code to them, basically.
Mike isn't an idiot, period. So hey.
There are a lot of
get Jeff
people.
Nerdy
Yeah.
right.
Think of it this way: it's a way like California sometimes go, "Cool, bro."
Like whatever, man. Like cool, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. They really don't care.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
Oh, that was one thing about California slang. Oh my god, I'm gonna be honest. I have this thing where I tell people, I was like, please don't call me dude.
Oh, come
I
on,
actually
dude.
take it as an insult.
Dude, that's,
Yeah.
that's my vernacular.
One of the things I do like about "dude" is the fact that because it's become so ubiquitous, it is basically a gender neutral way of referring to somebody.
Unless you
Because
say
I
it
know
to
there was
me.
dudette for a while, but dudette fell through. Dude can apply to anybody.
Yeah, I
That's
noticed
not
my
that did fall by the wayside.
Australians hate being called dude. At least they did in the 90s.
And if someone calls me a dude, I take offense. Because I'm not a dude.
Why not?
Well, a dude is actually a
Because
word
a
for a
Bloke.
it's a camel penis is what it is. It's actually the word that is you use to describe a camel penis. That's why the
I just
Australians
don't
didn't
like
like it.
I just don't like it because it's what my ex-wife would call me all the goddamn time.
That's
That's why
California.
I take issue with it.
It's also very American, so it's not over here. No one really
Oh,
uses
it's
dude.
Californian
Yeah.
to be more
All right, I beg your
precise.
pardon, Darren. It's a California word.
But did
Yeah.
she start
Yeah,
calling
yeah.
you dude after you married her?
No, she was calling me that. Well, yeah, actually, technically, it did happen afterwards because, fuck, I don't know, man.
According
It's
to
been
the
long since I've been divorced from her. Thank God.
well, according to the etymology of dude, Oxford English Language Dictionary, it is denoting a dandy, probably shortened from doodle.
Oh,
an
doodle
allusion
dandy,
to
yeah.
Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Yeah.
Oh, like what was it that word they use in Britain? Don't they call them like a flop and a dandy? A
Yeah,
dandy is
flopping a
kind of
dandy,
a
yeah.
And
A very
dandy is a very
flamboyant, dressed up man.
yes, thank you. More flamboyant. A dandy is a flamboyant.
But
person.
it's also an archaic word that's not used anymore. Dandy
And-
was around when I was little. So was fag. So was gay. Fag stuck because it's smoking. Gay for happy. Then turned into something else because the rest of the planet decided to take that word and screw with it. Gay used to mean happy. So
Oh, I know.
you know.
Well, if
And-
you look at the Flintstones,
Yeah, we'll have a gay old time.
time.
I was about to say that, Ryan.
Those lyrics
we'll
were
have a
written
gay
in the
old
60s.
time.
And Jordan, I think you're
Now we
referring
don't have
to
gay
the word
apparel.
dork, which actually never meant that. It was just something that somehow spread through elementary schools, saying that dork meant either whale or walrus penis, which it actually never did.
Dork meant smart person, nerd, geek, dweeb. Same thing.
What is Mrs. Mike
The
saying
best-
here? How far is Tijuana and Merida from each other?
About 1,000 miles.
Oh,
The
really?
best insults, names, things you can call people are ones that end in a hard consonant sound. So, dork makes sense that would have developed.
Basically, she was given an example from California to New York. That's basically her version example of Mexico. Vernacular was different.
Well, here's another one. You got the term redneck. I think that I'm going to guess is predominantly an American Southern term.
Redneck meant leatherback. Somebody worked on the oil rig, okay? That's what a redneck was.
No, you're thinking a roughneck.
Wait, is it
You're
Yeah,
thinking a roughneck. You're
Roughneck,
thinking a roughneck,
definitely.
not a redneck. Oh, not a redneck.
Yeah.
A redneck is completely different from a roughneck.
Sorry,
A
there's
roughneck can be a redneck. A redneck can be a roughneck. But a roughneck, what you're talking about is specifically a roughneck.
And rednecks make the best leathernecks.
Thank you. Since I am a leatherneck.
I thought
Those of you who
redneck
don't
was
know what that
originally
means,
for
for those of you who don't know what
derogatory
that
for
means-
Indian.
No.
Well, for those of you who don't know what leatherneck means, that is actually a term for United States Marines, and there's actually a reason for that.
Yeah.
Our uniform, our dress uniform, has a leather part here on the top, and that was originally part of our uniform, going all the way back to when we started. The point of it was being leather was to resist sword slashings.
I thought it was to
Right.
keep your head straight for the jar to be screwed on properly.
No.
No,
The
no.
term jarhead.
Yeah, that's
No,
derogatory.
the term jarhead actually is because when we're in our uniform and we wear, like our Marine cap, not the piss cover, but the box cover one. If you look at us
hold on.
standing in a shadow, we look like a jarhead. We look like we have a jar on our head. We look like, a jar head.
I just want to read this a little bit about the term redneck. The term redneck in the early 20th century was occasionally in reference to American coal miner union members who wore red bandanas for solidarity. The sense of a union man dates to at least the 1910s, and it was especially popular in the 1920s and 30s in the coal-producing regions of West Virginia, Kentucky, and Pennsylvania. So one of the etymologies of redneck actually refers to union members, not the other thing. Although today it's mostly affiliated with poor
Stupid
white
hick.
farmers.
A stupid hick.
Yeah. The reason back when the Marine Corps was still a part of the Navy before the actual Corps had been,
The Marine
formally
Corps is
created,
still part of
the-
the Navy, always has been.
Excuse me.
the anyway, getting back to what I was trying to say, when the proto Marines formed the boarding parties back in the old sailing ships, the leather sash they wore around their neck was intended to prevent beheadings, and so they don't have a problem with being called a leather neck. The jarhead, on the other hand, is a little harder for them to swallow. So I wouldn't use it, at least when you're around a couple of active duty ones.
Didn't Marine used to be an acronym or something like about moving Navy or personnel around?
Muscles are
My
required.
ass rides in
intelligence
Navy
non-
equipment.
That's right.
Or muscles are required, intelligence non-essential, sir. Or USMC, you sign the motherfucking contract.
Yeah, okay, I heard that one.
By the way, jarhead is generally, it's more, I guess, the harder term for us to take, but generally we use that one when we're just bitching at each other or busting each other's balls.
Thank you. My ass ride to Navy equipment.
Yeah, my ass, actually,
That's it.
it's my ass. Actually, it's my ass rides in Navy equipment, or when it's Marines, my ass rides in Navy equipment, sir.
I prefer crayon eaters, but
you have Army, aren't really Marines yet.
Yes, yeah.
You have Navy, never again volunteer yourself.
My father told me that one a lot.
And then, of course, you had my personal favorite throughout my time from all my Marine brothers and sisters. When I joined the Air Force, they're like, "Oh, you joined the Chair Force, you lazy bastard."
Yeah. One of my favorite jokes that my dad used to tell, because my dad was in the Navy, my grandfather was in the Army, and my mom was also in the Army. But one of his jokes was the president was set to give a speech to all 4 branches of the military, and one of the Joint Chiefs of Staff gathers groups from each branch. And he says, "Okay, the speech is going to be at 3:00. We need you guys to all be back here for the speech at 2:00. Now, for you Navy folks, that's going to be 2 bells. For you Air Force folks, that's just going to be 2:00. For you Army guys, that's going to be 1,400 hours. And for you Marines, that's going to be when the big hand's on the 2 and the little hand's on the..."
yeah.
Let me tell you something about going to formation in the Marine Corps. Nothing like waiting around 15 minutes for the guy standing at attention or parade rest, waiting on the asshole who's supposed to be in charge of the formation to show up.
They do that on purpose, dude.
I know they did that on purpose. We all knew they did. Dude, when we got a long weekend, like say we got a 3-day or 4-day weekend, whatever. The commander would talk. The first sergeant would talk. The gunny would talk. The fucking company commander would give his 2 cents. It's like, dude, we get it. Okay. Drink responsibly. Don't do drugs. And if you have sex, wrap your dick up. It's like, how many times you guys got to tell us the same shit?
The civilian arrest, you telling your military, you're not going to speak anything until you talk to the MPs.
To be fair, they pretty much have to tell them every single time, NB.
Right.
I know,
because it still happens. Yeah, it still happens, unfortunately.
Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. We had on Beale Air Force Base, we had a new wing commander, which in the Air Force also meant this person was the base commander. And he said, if we go 365 days without a DUI, I'll give you all a 72, which was a 3-day pass.
Mm-hmm.
We never made it there the entire 3 years I was still there. And I was there for 7 years. And for the 3 years, we got so close. We got to 355 days. And it was a week before Christmas and New Year's time. And I was like, we are not going to make it. I'm like, it's Christmas and New Year's. We are going to get fucked. I show up. I had Christmas off. I had Christmas, the 26th off. I show up on the 27th, go through the base, look at the sign, number of days, 0. I was like, God damn it!
Did you guys ever actually get up with the person, punish the person who was responsible?
Oh yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm like, thank you,
yes.
man.
What would happen is the person who got the DUI, his commander and his first sergeant all had to be in blues and had to get their picture taken right in front of the banner that was up that said, "We are at day 0 now." Number of days since the DUI,
Oh.
and had to do that. And that would be and that would get spread around. And they would have to give a speech about it. He did
We had
not
to have,
but people for some reason didn't listen.
on the submarine, which at the time was all male, we had to have tailhook training. For those of you who don't remember what tailhook was, that was a sexual harassment thing and a bunch of us enlisted guys pointed out that tailhook was all naval aviators, the officer types. Maybe they should be having this training and not us. And the chiefs love that.
Well, now that we've got 6 people on, we can actually start maybe an actual nerd chat other than talking about military nerd stuff. Because we were going to talk about the House of Dragon so far and seeing how you guys thought about that one.
I haven't even got a chance to watch it yet.
Oh yeah, shit.
I haven't seen
talk
it
about
either.
that like 40 minutes ago, weren't we?
Yeah.
Haven't
I thought you
seen
were
it.
talking about your face.
So basically, I've seen it. I've seen the first 4 episodes. NB's seen some of the episodes. Elihu, Darren, and Yvette haven't. LDG, are you still there? Or are you finally off doing something else?
I'm not watching that show.
Why
I will
not?
say that I have heard good
Game of
things
Thrones.
about it.
I don't follow Game of Thrones.
Well, I don't read the books, but I still enjoyed some of it.
Isn't it on like HBO or something?
Yeah,
Or something.
HBO Max.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. I messed with your seat. All right.
It's on whatever streaming platform that my roommates pay for on the main TV.
Gotcha.
I haven't seen it yet, but I did try to watch.
How you doing, number one?
I did try to watch The Munsters last night.
Why?
I was bored. I'm like, this is stupid. This is campy. This is campy stupid. 20 minutes into it, I'm like, okay, enough. I can't. Sorry, Rob Zombie. I can't stomach this. This is stupid.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen that one yet. As I said, the only things I watched this week were season 2 of Stargirl, just because I thought I'm thinking it's actually really well done, in my opinion. And the 4 episodes of House of Dragon.
Have you seen the last Stargirl yet?
Sorry?
Have you seen the last episode of Stargirl yet?
I've only watched up to season 2. I didn't watch season 3 yet because it's only like 3 or 4 episodes released.
Dude, Sylvester Peggleton.
I attempted to watch Thursday's episode of She-Hulk and couldn't get 6 minutes into it. So.
I'm going to wait on that one. Is it over yet? I don't know how many episodes it was supposed to be.
2 more.
Okay.
Yeah, House of Dragon is great. I don't know why you guys won't watch it.
I've seen it yet.
It's fairly interesting so far, but I don't know. It's the whole incest stuff is still squicky to me.
Yeah,
It should be.
It's almost like they're trying to make it desensitize us to it.
I don't think they're trying to desensitize. It's more, as I said, it's more for me. It's like, ew.
Well, they always do that, especially with the Targaryens, because that's what they're known for.
And I realize it's technically historically accurate because royalty did that kind of stuff, but
still do.
Well, Game of Thrones does not take place in our history. It's fantasy.
Yeah, it's medieval.
No,
history.
But the reasoning behind it would still work either way in a fantasy environment or not, because it's all about keeping the bloodline pure.
Yeah.
And that was a very common thing in the day.
Exactly.
I got to Loja.
Well, I like you, Mike. I've seen the 4 episodes that have come out. I generally catch them. I'm usually asleep by the time it comes out on HBO Max tonight, so I'll catch it in the morning or sometime at that point.
I mean, it does have the sex, the violence. that basically Game of Thrones had. So, you know,
That what made that show good? I don't know.
I mean,
Well,
that's
and in
that's
all
what-
honesty, what's his name? Matt Smith.
Yeah,
He's
Matt
doing a
Smith.
phenomenal job as playing a villain.
yeah, it's Damon.
I would
Yeah.
agree with that.
I
Yeah.
mean,
But I don't
I'm
see him
kinda
as a
shocked.
villain per se. I mean, he doesn't.
Well, he's like
He's a villain protagonist.
yeah.
He's in all honesty, it's Game of Thrones. Everyone's a villain except for Ned Stark.
Well, I mean, and he got beheaded for it. So
Exactly.
there you go.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I am actually I honestly watched the first episode out of just morbid curiosity. I did not like Game of Thrones. I never did. I never had.
What?
No, when it first came out, I had HBO Max for like free for whatever reason I don't remember. I think it's because I just upgraded my Hulu or something.
Mhm.
And I watched 6 episodes of Game of Thrones from the first season, and I was bored out of my goddamn mind.
Well, the first season
Yeah.
is pretty dull, besides until the beheading at the end for the final episode of season 1.
Well, not only that, it's very political. That
Yeah.
first
And,
season.
and this is too,
Yeah.
and that's the reason why people get bored with it.
Well, that's the funny thing. I'm generally, as most of you guys know, I'm very political. I follow politics a lot. And so it surprised me that I just wasn't that interested in Game of Thrones.
Because I mean, the thing is that at least the book is written for Fire and Blood. It's already, at least the first part of it is. The part that they're covering in this series leads up into
Song of Fire and Ice.
well, no, into Fire and Blood Part 2. He's going to write a second book to Fire and Blood. This first one will lead up.
Sorry, when you said he's going to write another book, it takes him 5 years to write one chapter.
Well, the thing is, he will never finish a Song of Fire and Ice. He always because now all these other books are getting his attention and shit like that.
George R. R. Martin never finishes anything when he says he's going to finish. He's supposed to finish his last book 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, he's supposed to longer than that. He was supposed to finish it a
also-
really long time ago.
Writer's
From what
block
I
is a real
understand,
thing, though.
Didn't
too.
the books basically end for like season 4 of Game of Thrones?
Yeah, or maybe season
So,
5, I think.
Everything after that
Somewhere
is
in
kind
there.
of just fan fiction, which I don't have a
Right.
problem with when it comes
Well, and
to
it's
that
based
version
on
of the events, but still.
And it's based on his notes that he kind of gave him. But yeah, besides that.
Explains what they did in season 8, then, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, season 8 was the
I have
biggest
nothing left.
cluster ever. But yeah.
I know a lot of people who stopped watching the show at the Red Wedding.
Well, the Red
You know,
Wedding
yeah.
was probably one of the best episodes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
it was
They-
genuinely
you know.
shocking, but
Yeah.
It was kind of expected.
I know a lot of women who stopped watching at that point because they just
Well, then they would have stopped probably at the first episode because you have a freaking woman getting her belly cut open to get the baby out.
Yeah.
And then you got blood all over the freaking bed and shit like that. So.
I think women particularly have issues with that. I mean, I wouldn't. The reason I didn't watch Game of Thrones was one, brand new series, love my dragons. Merlin's one of my favorites. Time issue. And it slips past. And when I heard what they'd done to it, I was so glad I hadn't started it because I would have been so annoyed.
I remember when I think it was either Elizabeth Warren or Claire McCaskill. I think it was Claire McCaskill who said that she was no longer watching Game of Thrones after Sansa got married to the other bastard.
Ramsay. Yeah, to Ramsay.
Yeah, and I'm thinking to myself, that was your drawing line. I mean, you sit there and watched what's his name, Theo Greyjoy, get tortured and neutered and
yeah.
castrated and all that shit, and then now she's forced to marry him. That's the last straw. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to go to the park today or not. Shit.
What's in the park?
It's Comedy Day in the Park. It hasn't been here for 2 years because of the COVID thing, but it's back. It's free comedy. You got about 50 comedians. One of the headliners is Brian Posen.
But yeah, this
Get that on
series.
YouTube.
Hold on. I want to go back to the Game of Thrones thing. Sorry, Elihu.
Yeah, but this series, the book, the Fire and Blood book,
Well,
is, like I said, it's already written. So
number one, though, have you
so
read the
we already
books?
No, I haven't, but
Okay.
I know what happens, and it's based on just a synopsis. On
Because I haven't read the
Wikipedia.
books.
So, based on that, we already know what's going to happen.
Hold on.
I've never read the books, never was really a fan of Game of Thrones. I'm actually rather shocked that I'm enjoying this as much as I am.
Well, the reason when I was confused about some of the stuff regarding the new House of Dragon things, I went ahead and went to like some of the not message boards, but like Reddit and stuff like that to see certain opinions and stuff. And there are still people that are pissed off about Peter Dinklage's portrayal of Tyrion because they're mad about him portraying him more nobly, essentially. And they're like, it's not the character from the books. And I'm like, it's still a fantastic portrayal. I mean, his acting is freaking butt off. I don't understand how it's pissing that many people off.
Well, they're always
Again, I haven't read the
do
books.
stuff. They're always going to do stuff slightly different than the books, no matter what.
You will always have people who have read the books who don't like the film version because it conflicts with the version that they have in their head based off what they read. I mean, that's as old as the hills.
Yep.
Yeah, I've tried to talk with my wife about that, and I said,
But
I try to separate.
But everything that's happening in the show, it has or is in a book, basically. Because she is going to marry this Valerian guy, Sir Laenor Valerian, and she does in the book. And then she has Aegon III as her son. And that's where Fire and Blood basically ends shortly after having her son, who will eventually become king.
Sorry,
Hey,
I'm just,
Mike,
I'm just
thanks
trying to
for,
find out if I'm doing the comedy thing today. Sorry,
What I thought was
And basically,
hilarious
they're
for all
going
this.
to have a big civil war of the king and his current wife fighting with the brother Damon, and then the daughter Rhaenyra. Those three are going to be fighting each other with their dragons,
Yeah.
and then hence all the dragons are going to be basically gone. And that's how their reign ends, basically.
Well, the other thing is it's also a foregone conclusion because they mention if they're going to keep true to the canon of Game of Thrones, what Rhaenyra's actual fate is going to be. We all know because they mentioned it. No, they mentioned it as it was a plot point twice in Game of Thrones.
okay, well, what's the spoiler?
Do you really want me to spoil it?
I haven't
Why
seen
not?
I haven't seen the last season of Game of Thrones or the new show.
It wasn't the last season. It was the second or third season. Joffrey is telling it to Sansa.
Okay.
Because he thinks it's the coolest thing ever. Yeah, she gets eaten by her brother's dragon.
Her brother.
Yeah. The one that we saw already in the previous episode, I think.
Oh, the half brother.
Yeah, Damon.
I'm sorry, not her brother, her uncle's dragon. I apologize.
Yeah.
Her uncle's dragon.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, that kind of bums, and that kind of sucks.
Somebody pinched in B in the past.
Oh, damn. Well, this isn't exactly, one thing we learned about Game of Thrones, don't get too attached to your characters.
Right.
And apparently she has, even though they make it a plot point about she doesn't want to just be married and pumping out kids, she has like 6 to 9 kids or something like that. 3 of which are her uncle's kids. And yes, it's her uncle who still kills her.
I got to kick out all the young moms who were fans of the show that named their little girls Daenerys or whatever after the Emily Clark character. Then they see the last season and they're like, what the fuck? It's like,
Yeah, but
maybe you should.
in all honesty, anyone
That's
who
their
watches
fault.
the first few seasons of Game of Thrones knows that's what her character arc is going to be.
Right.
Well,
Her
it's funny you mention that,
insanity. Yeah.
But my problem was that we knew it was going to end up that way, but the way they got there was like, okay, it was really well done, really well done, really well done, and then
and then it made no sense because she snapped, because all of a sudden she's already won and now she snapped.
Yeah, her reasoning for snapping was not really well executed. Pun not intended.
No, it really wasn't. No, I agree with you, Mike, on that one. It really wasn't, because it was like, okay, I wasn't surprised that she snapped like she did, because even though when I started binge watching, I started catching it on the last season. My daughter was talking to me up and down about it. And I was like, okay, I'll watch it. I'll take a look. And I caught up all the way up until the second to last episode before the season final would air on HBO. And I just remember saying at the end of this, I was like, the people who've been watching this for 7 years are going to be pissed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they were.
And to be honest, I didn't watch it for the 7 years. I didn't start watching it till like season 5 or 6 came out anyway. And it was because the local library had them all for, you could rent them. So I was like, screw it. I'll just rent them and watch them. And I was binge watching it that way. And finally I'm watching, the last 2 seasons as it comes out. And I was sorely disappointed with the final season, like most people seem to be.
Well, the thing that gets me is the showrunners. They had all this work lined up based off of the success of the series, and then all of a sudden, the last few seasons, where they had to basically come up with a lot of stuff on their own,
Wing
they
it.
didn't have any more books to basically build the structure on.
Yeah.
And we found out just how good they really were, and they lost all kinds of jobs.
Yeah, they were great at adapting certain things, but when it came to adapting just notes, it was like,
There was no.
I will go ahead, Yvette. Sorry.
The story writing stopped. They had virtual nil apart from notes, and it just goes to show that those certain showrunners were not writers, were not creators. They just adapted from something else, and this is where it fell flat on its face. And again, I'm so glad I never started it, because I would be very angry. But anyway, while I've got the floor, guys, I'm going to go drug my mother in a minute. Tomorrow, hopefully LDG remembers this. We're hopefully going to stream the state funeral on LDG's channel. I think it's about between 7 and 8 a.m. LDG's time. I'll be around on the stream. Obviously, I'll be watching it. If anyone's interested anyway and has any questions, I'll be happy to try and answer them if I know. And thanks again, Mike, for having me on. And you look all shiny. Great job, Mrs. Vile.
Hey, Yvette, real quick. As I said before, but since you're here, sorry for your country's loss.
Appreciate it, Grandpa. You were the first, actually, to message me, and it was very heartfelt and very appreciated.
And I'll try to stop by. Is that going to be today? You said today, right?
Tomorrow.
It'll be about 4 o'clock our time in the morning.
Yeah, it starts about 2:30 the procession, 3 p.m.'s the funeral at Westminster.
9 o'clock our time.
That's my time.
So 9 a.m. our time, 8 to 9 a.m. our time.
Yeah, 3 p.m. is the actual funeral. But the procession before this, the procession you'll see, and I've actually been to state funerals before. Obviously, being up north, it's a lot harder. If I was still in Maidenhead, I would go.
Oh, come on. Beckham waited 13 hours in line. You can do it.
No, yeah, obviously the people that have been queuing and queuing to see Her Majesty lying in state, yeah, that's something I wouldn't have done. But I certainly would find someone to line the route as the procession passes, because the state funeral's huge.
You heard about what
procession.
David Beckham did yesterday, right?
No.
When the security spotted him in line, they tried to give him VIP access. He's like, no, I want to wait with the rest of everybody else. I give him respect for that.
I don't care.
No, I actually give him respect for that. They wanted to give this guy priority viewing. It's like, no, he wants to be just like everybody else, wants to queue in line with everybody else. I respect him for doing that, for not taking advantage of the rush service. Like, no, he wants to be like everybody else. I give him respect for that.
Right. Okay, well, good on you.
Who's doing the eulogy, Yvette? How does that work?
It depends on the plan of the service. We won't know until the
well,
time.
The king is
There'll be released tomorrow a sort of an event list, and it'll be what hymns are sung, who's talking, who's the
King
vicar.
King Charles, being 73 years old, is that the oldest king ever, basically?
I'd have to look it up. Number one, I don't know.
I hope they beef up their security, because that funeral tomorrow is.
Well, I mean, the oldest
terrorist attack.
Yeah.
The oldest age anyone has become king, I would imagine, is probably his age. I would imagine. Right?
Again, I'd have to look it up. I know the shortest kings. I know.
Number one could look it up too.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have complete memory of the history. But yeah, the event will be listed. The people speaking. Remember, it's the Church of England service. It's not. It's not something you guys are used to. So my motivation to talking LDG into doing this is so you guys can watch along with me and see a state funeral. I mean, this is an event in history. So
I saw Diana.
it'd be lovely to see everyone, but of course some of you I know won't want to, and that's fine too. Each to their own. But I will be there, and if I can answer questions, I will. And it's a moment in history. Literally, the history books are writing it down.
Is it going to be more elaborate than Diana's?
Yes, the Queen.
It should be.
The Queen of England.
On general principle, it should be.
It is. It will be.
She was a.
And you're right about. Sorry, you're right about security. Westminster, every time something like this happens, is full of quite a few world leaders and prominent people from around the world. Yeah.
That's my concern, is that it's a perfect opportunity for a terrorist attack.
Absolutely.
Oh, I would agree, but I got a feeling with all the world leaders that are going to come in, they're going to have security down.
It'll be locked down tighter than. Well, I was going to say something
tighter than a drum.
Yeah.
Tighter than
a Smurf's asshole in Gargamel's dungeon.
Anyway, Mike.
Harry and Meghan.
The underground. It's not the underground. It's not the underground.
Yes, we're live. We're doing it live.
Just tell Harry and Meghan to behave themselves for a few more hours.
Yeah, I don't even want to go there. All right.
Okay. Come back to America and be the little dweebs they are.
Yeah, they're your problem.
I say that out loud.
Anyway, thank you, Mike.
Alrighty. Nice to see you, Yvette.
Lovely and shiny. And I will see the rest of you probably later at some point. And I don't know what Bird's doing tonight. Bird, if you're watching, let us know. It's Sunday. And I'm going to go drug my mother. Alrighty, guys. If I don't see you later on Underground, I will see you hopefully tomorrow. Drop in, say hi, watch a bit of history. And bye.
For those of you who may not have understood her, she said she was going to drug D-R-U-G her mother.
Yes.
Yeah, but
drug her
still, the
mom.
point is, she is saying it so casually. The way she's saying it is not how we would say. I'm going to
Well, no,
help
I
my
just
mom with her
'cause to
medication. She's like, I'm going
yeah.
to drug her.
Yeah, no,
Actually, Yvette got me in
the
trouble.
reason why I said that was because it didn't sound like she said drug. At least
Oh, it did to me.
Oh. Yeah, she always drugs her mom.
That's why I spelled the word drug.
Oh, she got me in trouble because I was on so many streams where she was on, and she kept using a certain word they use in Britain very often that is very insulting to women here, and I ended up finding myself saying it a little bit more than my wife was comfortable with about people.
What'd you do? Call her Karen?
No,
See you next Tuesday.
no, the C word.
Oh, casserole.
See you next Tuesday.
Call her a casserole. Damn it.
Yes, but what kind of casserole?
Trying to disassemble your desk over there. MB, what's going on?
Oh, I was moving the table.
No disassemble, vile Mike. No disassemble.
Johnny
And
Five
we-
is not alive.
And if you get the reference to that, we can be friends.
Johnny Five is not alive.
It's number 5.
Well, he's always Johnny Five to me.
It was Johnny 5 in the sequels, but the original was
I'm number 5, but he'll always be Johnny Five to me.
right. I know. We can thank El DeBarge for that. Well, actually, the people who selected El DeBarge's song for that movie.
Johnny,
For that,
it's Johnny.
yeah.
Sorry, guys. Laptop was about to die, so I'm moving inside, which means camera's going to be off for the remainder.
Yay. I mean, oh.
We won't be blinded by your scalp then.
Turtle,
Blinded by the mic.
All right, Bird's here. He has to say the thing.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Hello, world. It's Birdo Prey 5, Cuppa.
Cutla bird.
Kapla bird.
Kapla.
Have you not figured out? You show up on a stream, you have to say it. It's
Yesterday, I got on a
law.
stream without saying it, and nobody said anything.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
but that's not the
happy.
CNA stream.
Mother-
It's required by law in certain streams that you have to say it.
Yes, in the land of the Vile Islands, you have to say it.
the Vile Islands now. Wow.
Yeah, you got Kuroga, I got the Vile Islands.
Hey, what's the
We talking like Epstein
between
Islands
Isle
or-
Islands and
I'm saying
Kuroga?
Higgins.
No, more like Hawaiian Islands.
Mr. Babyface up there is worried about Epstein Island. Don't worry. He wasn't going to order you to his island.
Thank
Do you know
God.
what the Hawaiian Islands were called before they were called the Hawaiian Islands?
Are you doing a
Pacific
joke or are you
Ocean.
talking about serious?
Serious.
Volcano Alley.
They had a name in English before they were called the Hawaiian Islands.
Weren't they like the Sandwich Islands or something like that?
That's right. The Sandwich Islands.
It's a mighty big sandwich.
Was it named after the Earl of Sandwich?
Right.
That was
The
it. Gorilla. didn't make me say
the
it.
Earl of Sand. They were named after the Earl of Sandwich. Then I guess he
Yeah.
lost them in a
Okay.
game or something. Title or whatever.
So I'm just looking at the weather
Ja-
right now.
James Montague was the Earl of Sandwich.
Shit, heavy wind advisory up to 40 miles an hour. Plus that comedy in the park. I don't know if that's canceled.
I was going to say something when I was coming here, and then I forgot. Oh, Yvette. Yes, Yvette had asked. I am streaming today. It is Twilight Zone related, but not Twilight Zone.
So Outer Limits?
No, it's a it's a movie whose original story was a Rod Serling story, and then the movie was based on a screenplay based on the Rod Serling story. So I'll grant you it's a stretch, but it counts. It's like the tip. It counts.
Tip only counts if you're Moyer, okay?
And he brings it around to his own little zang.
Well, he does like sucking on things that are hard.
All right, who's spanking their meat?
Wait, is it a day that ends in Y?
It ends in I. Today's Sunday.
A friend that grew up in Alabama, he said that when they taught him the days of the week when they were kids, they said that they were taught that the A is silent, and so it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yep, that is how they do it.
Friday, Sunday.
What day doesn't start with, what doesn't end in Y?
That's the joke.
Yeah. Welcome to
No,
Several Minutes
I'm
Ago.
saying which day doesn't end in Y?
Tomorrow.
Well, in Germany, the days don't end in Y.
Yeah, you could
Tomorrow does not end in Y.
You could try being me. We like to put, where I'm from, we like to put an R in things that don't have an R.
Yeah, the Brits like to do that too.
Every
Well,
day
you
loses
have,
its Y when it's tomorrow.
Well, you have words like, I'll say, okay, I have to slow down to say it. You have wash,
Wash.
and then you have the way I say it, which is wash.
Yeah.
Like what I was saying, the state of Washington.
Yes, the state of
I don't
Washington.
get that.
How about Bostonians? They're going to pop the car and the car pop.
No, man, that's the New Yorkers
That's
back in Brooklyn.
That's when
the
they get rid of
absence
the
of an
R's.
R. Yeah.
Actually, those Bostonians and those Brooklanders, they do
Estonians.
have very similar accents.
But don't tell that to a New Yorker.
Oh, God, no.
You mean a New Yorker?
New Yorker.
Yeah, as far as
Oh,
I
it's
know, there's
not-
only one New Yorker here.
Hey, he's in Queens. Doesn't count.
Yeah.
It's in the 5 boroughs. It counts. Nothing else in New York counts but the 5 boroughs. Didn't you know how New York works?
I don't know. I've only ever been to New York once.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Last time I was in New York, I was
One time too many.
5, 6 years old. That was the last time I was in New York.
Let's see. Last time I was in New York was around 10 to 11 years ago.
Yeah, it's about 20 years I was in New York.
I was in an anger management class in the military, and yes, I went to several of those.
They did anger management in New York.
In the Corps?
No,
or
we
in the
had
Air Force?
we had a New York airman who was, stationed where we were, and oh my God, I learned really a whole lot about Bronx tempers, because she really was like, she'd be like, "Do you think I like hearing how you talk? Do you understand how fucking shitty you all sound to me? And then you're going to make it fun of me because I say I parked my car? Fuck you." That's literally how she put it. And I'm like, and I'm like the one guy in the back. I'm like the one guy in the back not making fun of her, because I'm like, I get made fun of for the way I talk. I'm not getting in this.
Was that in the Corps or the Air Force?
Can I be completely honest? I don't remember which one it was. I think it was the Air Force, but I could be wrong. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's something the Air Force would do. I mean, the Marine Corps kind of wants you to stay angry all the time anyway. So.
Nah, I think it was the Air Force. I think it might not have been an anger management. It may have just been a counseling class. I can't remember exactly. Anyway, I was in a lot of mental therapy. I was in a lot of mental therapy during my time in the Air Force.
It happens when you grow up with so many men.
Well, it happens when you have a lot of issues you got to deal with.
Every stream I share with you, NB, always ends up being a war story.
Oh, I didn't mean that. I was just, it was a funny joke because it had to do with a New Yorker. It was one of the few times I dealt with somebody from the boroughs. Strangely enough, during my time in the military, I did not come across a lot of New Yorkers, let alone New Yorkers from the boroughs.
I did, and about 3 out of 4 of them had something wrong with them. Yeah, sorry.
Well, I just got information that the comedy day is still a go from the organizer, so I'm not going to be available to be online this afternoon with people.
Well, I hope you have fun.
What's still a go?
Comedy day in the park, which means the back tent is being erected according to the email, which means there should be some cover from the weather for the cover from the weather for the performers backstage. So I get to pour beer, get to be the bartender today.
I'm going to erect a tent in my pants.
You got a license to tend beer?
Yeah, sorry, Bird. I don't think that counts. That's a pup tent, not a full tent.
I think it fit 2 people in a pup tent.
I don't have to have a license to distribute beer. The brewery that does, basically the subcontracted volunteer, they actually had a license, so I can actually do that legally. I forgot what brewing company.
I assume LDG wasn't listening since he didn't.
Yeah, I think this is what he's talking about.
Scream about clipping that.
Oh, great. Of course it has something else. No, I don't care.
It's comedyday.org if you want the actual website.
I just did a Google search.
Golden Gate Park, that's where they parked that bird of prey.
Yeah. Up by Stanley Meadows.
I didn't see anything and you didn't see it either. They had some New
York
garbage men.
Yeah, I noticed that. They had New York garbage men in San Francisco. I like the way she
all
fights.
Garbage men are New York garbage men. Don't you know that?
I didn't know that.
The big headliner today is the biggest name there is Brian Posen.
The man, the cat, the legend.
Oh, this is funny what I just saw on
I told him all the beers on your beer's on me if you come backstage by the beer. What the fuck? That's weirder than the baby face, man.
Oh no, man! I thought the baby face was pretty freaky.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be one that, as I said, is going to haunt my nightmares.
Oh, I sent it to Pickles so he could reuse it on a regular basis.
Dude, search under Freddy Krueger, okay?
Okay. It's more like the Undertaker, not.
I know, but
this is not. It's the freaking Undertaker, bro. Seriously.
Yeah, I know, but search Freddy Krueger, see if you got any.
The baby was quite the sleep paralysis demon. Looks like the Undertaker to me.
Yeah, that's definitely the Undertaker. God,
I don't really follow wrestling all that much. Maybe he's changed.
Well, shut up.
This is his channel. You don't get to tell the host to shut up.
And I
you do.
remember.
You can tell him to shut up, but
the Undertaker looked a lot different in the 90s or 80s and 90s.
Yes, he did.
I always, it's funny. I didn't really get into wrestling during that time when it was very popular, but I did know like all the wrestlers and some of that shit was fun. And I got to be honest, I thought Papa Shango was rather entertaining because he'd always bring the snake out. And he was kind of a skinny guy too.
Snake? You say snake, I think
back then he got pretty heavy and then he became the Godfather. So he much preferred playing the Godfather over Papa Shango.
Oh, that must have happened way later.
Yeah, he had the hoe train. You see, every time they would go to a taping, the WWE would call up the local strip clubs and they'd say, any of your dancers want to be in the hoe train? And so the Godfather would come out and he'd start walking down the ramp, and then everybody'd be booing him, and he'd be like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And then all of a sudden he'd like, "Oh, I know what you want." And then whistles, and out comes the hoe train, and all these strippers would come out, and not stripper like G-strings and stuff, but very, very small tube skirts. And then he got some of the biggest cheers in the place. And they would escort him out to the ring, and they would wait ringside, and and then they would exit with him. It was fun. The Godfather was dressed like a 70s street pimp stereotype.
Please tell me he was wearing purple at least.
Oh yeah, most of the time he was wearing like a hat, and he had the shades on, and he had the little stick they carried. I forgot what it's called.
So in translation, he was a person in management position. Pimp.
Let's see. Here we go. Sorry, I'm trying to.
Twitter.com. You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah, you will on Meta.
There you go. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, damn. Papa, wait a minute. Papa Shango got that ripped?
Yeah, he was pretty heavy, but yeah, he would come out, and he'd have the hoe train. He'd do a little dance in the 70s dance, in the ring with them, and then they'd go out to ringside and watch his match, and then they'd leave with him, and and WWE, of course, was very smart. They kept at least one camera on the girls at all times. So,
well, I mean, yeah, he was rather built, but I mean, compared to the other guys, he was always seemed like the smaller on the build side.
Okay,
or I should say the slimmer on the build side. I think that would be a better word.
I'm not certain, because I never got the impression that Papa Shango was a thin guy. I guess I'm looking at pictures now, and I can see what you mean, where he was V-shaped, but generally speaking, here's an image of him.
Maybe he was bigger than I remember. Maybe it's just been so long.
There's a picture of him when he was as Papa Shango, and of course he wore the top hat and had the skull makeup on, and he was probably sucking it in there, but you could tell he's got a girdle on, and then he's got a muffin top chest. But and he went from that to the Godfather, and he, the guy who played him is a real life titty bar owner now. Charles Wright is his name. And if you want to see something interesting, there's a documentary on YouTube. I don't know if it's free or not now, but Vice did one for this event that WWE had back in 2000 called the Brawl for All, or Brawl for It All. And it was a Vince Russo idea where they had a legitimate street fight tournament with wrestlers, and the idea was that if you won the tournament, you would get to work an angle with Austin at the end of the year. And you had some legitimate tough guys in there, and Charles Wright, the guy who played Papa Shango,
I met him.
The Godfather, was one. Yeah, one of those guys.
Bam Bam Bigelow came to Cart World with his family one night in Florida.
Oh, I remember Bam Bam.
No, one of the things I always remember about Bam Bam Bigelow, do you guys remember the old WrestleMania game on the NES?
Yes.
One of his special moves that he did was a freaking cartwheel, and we would just have fun having him do cartwheels all across the stage, going around people.
He died in 2007.
Yeah, he passed that.
But yeah, I was never really into wrestling because it's scripted. It's not a sport to me, and unless you're watching it for the scripted elements, then it's not all that fun.
Literally, it's a Rocky movie on television. Pretty much. That's what it is.
No, I think the best way to describe it is it was a soap opera for men.
Yes.
Well, right. You could call it that, but most soap operas don't have the violence, and if you add the violence to
But we're
Wait,
men.
wait, Susan Lucci didn't slap anybody? That's not violence?
How many people died in soap operas?
A lot of people, wow.
usually off camera.
Who shot JR? Damn
You-
it.
You watched
I
Telling
did.
It wasn't
Fellas, right?
that wasn't a soap opera.
But
it was on
Actually,
how
TV.
many,
you
here.
could call Dallas a soap
Yeah, it
opera.
was.
Cameras off.
In the strictest sense, it's not a soap opera because it wasn't sponsored by a detergent. That's how soap operas got their names. They were
Yeah,
daytime
but
television
Dallas, Knots Landing, and Dynasty.
Listen. They were daytime television for housewives. The reason why they were called soap operas as opposed to something else was because they were always sponsored by Calgon, Palmolive, Joy, all these detergents, and that's why they were called soap operas.
Okay.
Soap operas
now,
technically are what you show in the middle of the day for housewives.
But
now,
a number of people die in those things, so there's obviously violence. And I got Mrs. Vile standing here.
you can die without there being violence.
We got
most of them died in bed.
Telenovelas. Was there a lot of violence in your telenovelas?
Psychological.
Not violent violence.
Not it doesn't
Manipulation,
used to have that kind of violence until like 10 years ago.
Oh, okay. Because the whole joke is that wrestling is a soap opera for guys.
Oh, we like guns.
Yes, I know. It can be called that certainly, but there's more to it than that.
No, I
like
was
an
just using that, but not the literal term for soap opera. I was just going off more. What did I talk about? Like WWF or WWE, as it's now called, or Dallas. So, like for example, there was a term used a lot when it came to Dallas, Knots Landing, and Dynasty. There were women literally calling them their evening soap opera shows. In fact, I had a babysitter who flat out said, "You can come to me for anything except when I'm cooking dinner or watching Knots Landing." She was dead set on that. And when Knots Landing came, if I was visiting and she was babysitting me and Knots Landing was on, she's like, "I'm watching Knots Landing."
Dude, that sounds like Penny and Selma when MacGyver's on.
Or my grandmother used to call her soap operas her stories. I'm going to watch my stories.
Oh yeah, my mom used to do that. She used to watch. You know what the worst part is? As a kid, even as a guy, you sometimes get sucked into those damn things.
Luke and Laura, General Hospital.
Yeah, Melrose Place, first 2 seasons.
Oh God, yes.
90210.
Oh yeah, I never got into those shows either. Melrose Place. I never watched them.
I was in university.
I stopped watching Melrose when Alyssa showed up. I'm like, okay, it's getting old. They're getting desperate. She's good. She's hot, but no.
Who?
Alyssa Milano.
Who showed up?
Alyssa Milano. Melrose. Yeah.
Wait a minute. She showed up on Melrose. Wait a minute. When did Alyssa Milano show up on Melrose? Are we talking Melrose Place or the new one they did?
Melrose Place.
I don't remember Alyssa.
Well, I remember wasn't Tracy Lords on Melrose Place at one point?
Yes.
I believe so. Wasn't she one of the original actors?
No.
Hold on. I'm looking it up.
But one of the things that's interesting about pro wrestling.
She played Jennifer Mancini on Melrose Place. Alyssa Milano.
Huh.
God, I must have stopped watching before then because I had no clue. Well, I had stopped watching Melrose. Oh God, I don't remember the year I stopped watching it, but I had no clue Alyssa Milano even showed up. In fact, I was only holding out for the special guest star.
When wrestling was at its peak in the late 90s and the Attitude Era, what's interesting was that the whole action film genre went on hiatus around that time because the niche was being filled by those wrestling shows. And once the Attitude Era was over, they started creeping back with the Expendables and such.
And I went to Google and basically, she didn't join until seasons 5, 6, and 7.
That's probably where I left because I held out as long as I could because Heather Locklear was there. and I still thought she was hot as fuck.
Hey guys,
I'm not disagreeing, but
I gotta take off because I gotta shower and shave, and I gotta go to the dispensary, get ready for a comedy
Thank
day.
God.
oh yeah, you got to
The
shave.
shower
over
part. Shower part, yeah.
Shave.
Yeah, I gotta shave.
Yeah, he's
got
got to shave
on.
that one or
Yeah.
two hairs off his chinny chin.
Did your wife save your eyebrows, by the way, Vile? I didn't notice if you were gone. Your glasses kind of hide them.
Hold on.
So you didn't? Did she save your eyebrows?
She should have shaved them.
There they are. Okay. Well, she didn't do a very good job then. She left the eyebrows.
No, none of the goal of $400 was just to shave the beard, not the eyebrows.
Okay.
Okay, guys, I'm taking off.
All right, later, Lou.
Later, weirdos.
Eli Hoo Akbar.
That might get me demonetized if I was monetized. But let's see, what else is supposed to be? I could possibly watch She-Hulk this week, but
Don't waste your time.
but will the final episode be out by the end of this week?
No,
No.
this is the week where we're probably going to have the Daredevil episode with Cox in it.
Episode 5. Yeah, so.
It's I'm going to be honest. It's not like horribly bad. It's just very short and, for lack of a better term, silly. I really
It's not
don't
funny.
know much.
Yeah, it's not funny. I mean, that's its biggest sin.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's really not funny. It's kind of just silly, but not in a funny way.
I wonder if
It
it's more
seems like-
funny for, again, I haven't seen it yet, but I wonder if it's more funny to people who are actually in the legal field, or at least know the nomenclature. But again, I have no idea how focused it is on the attorney part.
The writers had openly admitted they don't know how to write courtroom scenes, so they're actually not emphasizing that part of the show.
Oh, groovy.
Which is odd because, okay, why did you take the job? And B, if you didn't know, did it not occur to you to do some research? Maybe you could expand yourself a little bit as a writer, and even if you watch some courtroom dramas that people generally think are pretty good and just copied what they did, you'd be fine. I mean, that's what let's face William Frakes, Jonathan Frakes, when he directed his big episode, The Drumhead on TNG. That's the one that had the and what he did was he just watched and copied the shots from a few from 12 Angry Men and a few other courtroom dramas to get it done, and it's a fine episode. And nobody cares. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things with courtroom shenanigans that are universal. So
what's funny is, like, my mom was a court reporter. She was also a paralegal and office manager. Oh, we lost number one. But she loved courtroom drama TV, even when she would be like, okay, that would never happen. Okay, right. Yeah. That one of her favorite things was the whole, okay, if an attorney did that, he would have been escorted out by the bailiff.
Right.
And
yeah.
Well, she was like, half the time when a prosecutor in those shows, especially Law and Order, does certain things, they were like, oh yeah, that person would have been fired the next day.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like
drama.
Kind of like Cobra Kai is going on right now.
Drama and courtroom proceedings are the antithesis of each other. I mean, the whole point of the rules in a court is to prevent drama, and a show is all about drama. So there's that conflict there. It's kind of like adding, But I mean, yeah, the.
I don't care who you are. That's funny. Well, I mean, if you're going to do a show about, I mean, we've got God knows how many crime dramas and courtroom dramas that used to be on the there. You could have hired some people from, Law and Order. Pick the series, for God's sakes. They had a bunch of them. They still got SVU going on, for fuck's sake, as far as I
Yeah.
know.
Zaslav over
Well,
at
one-
Warner Brothers Discovery his team had a fascinating study that they did about the viewing habits of men and women and how it skews a certain way. So men, when they tend to watch a TV show, they're more intently watching it, whereas women will be, on their phone and maybe doing something else while they have it on. And again, it's not every woman that's like that. It just skews that way. But
I was going to say, Darren, by that respect, I'm a freaking woman.
right. Yeah, the word skew is very important. It just skews that way. So She-Hulk seems to be written for women who aren't really paying attention to the show.
It might as
I
well
would
be.
agree with that.
I got that vibe also from other shows, but especially with She-Hulk. She-Hulk is it's all about the emotions, and they're frivolous emotions at that.
And it's 20
So-
minutes long.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a sitcom, so I mean, 22 minutes long, I think, is what a half an hour sitcom is without commercials. So, yeah, they're scraping it.
Well, here's the problem too. You have them say, "Oh, it's 30 minutes, it's 35 minutes, it's 37 minutes."
Yeah,
A minute and a half is previously on She-Hulk plus the intro, then 5 to 7 minutes of freaking credits.
Right.
So you you feel like it's rushed.
I do want to say, I do like the idea of the MCU exploring other genres when it comes to their product. They did the same thing with WandaVision. They did the same thing with Ant-Man, at least the first Ant-Man film. And I'm okay with them exploring those things, even if it fails.
Right.
I'd rather them innovate than just do the same crap over and over again.
Well, superheroes by their very nature are diverse. There's a ton of difference between Thor, for example, which is based off of mythology, and the Hulk, which is based off of pseudoscience. Yeah. So, there's that. I mean, you've got detective superheroes, you've got Western superheroes, you've got all these different subgenres within the genre itself, and technically the genre should never go stale as long as the overall quality remains up because of that diversity. But
also individual types of comic book heroes, and sorry for interrupting, can utilize different genres. Just look at Adam West Batman versus Michael Keaton's Batman.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm with you on that, Mike. I don't mind that they're okay. I'm at this thing with I don't have the blanket hate for Disney that certain people have gotten. I don't have that. I know it is a big ass company. I know it has many subsets, and I'm not going to blame everyone for things that are outside their control. Mm-hmm. This show seems like it was really, I mean, if you want to be honest, it was more geared towards younger women, and like Naren said, probably not the ones that are paying, that are kind of going between their phone and the TV. And I mean, that's why it's maybe 20 minutes long. They feel kind of rushed, maybe because I'm actually paying attention. I don't know. Like I said, I can't say it's a horrible show. I'm not going to say it's terrible. I think it's silly.
But it's like that.
It had a lot of potential.
Saying that started a while back about the worst thing an MCU product can be is average.
Right. I got that from every MCU show so far, except for WandaVision. I actually thought that was still the better of the ones we've seen, and it wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But I at least admire the idea of the first 2 episodes not explaining what's going on. I thought that was a gutsy choice where you're trying to figure it out. It became like, water cooler talk the next day at work. What do you think's going on? What do you think's going on? And
what show was this?
WandaVision.
Oh, WandaVision. Okay.
Where the first 2 episodes they didn't explain to you anything. They just played you these 2 weird shows that cast Wanda and Vision in these old sitcoms, and and I thought that was very avant-garde. I thought that was very, out there and a strong choice. But every other MCU show has been mediocre at best for me. I mean, I was
Winter
was fairly
Soldier or Falcon and the Winter Soldier was very status quo in my opinion.
up until that awful speech at the end that he gives.
The speech that sounds good on paper, would work really good inside of a comic book, but for the real life, especially with the things they're trying to allude to, falls flat on its face.
Yeah.
I had so many problems with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, some people are like, oh, you just can't handle, Sam Wilson being Captain America. I'm like, dude,
no.
I've known that was going to happen. I knew it back in the comics, and I know that during Marvel Team Up back in the 70s and for a long time, Captain America, Steve Rogers, and Sam have been longtime friends, and he would be the obvious choice to pass the mantle on to. And he did, and I remember when in the comics did that, even though I didn't read him back then. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And people are like, why not Bucky? I'm like, Bucky's only been back for a few years.
Well, Bucky did become Captain Marvel after Steve Rogers died in the comics.
Captain America.
Forget about that. Captain America, yeah, sorry.
He did for a little bit, but it made more sense. But he's not the only person who's been Captain America. I mean, even
right.
My
problem with the Punisher was Captain America for a little while too. But the problem that I have with it is that I just that Sam Wilson has more agency as the character he created, as the character he was created as, which is the Falcon. As the Falcon, he's cool. As Captain America, he's just he's got the Captain America shield. Now, it's not as original a take.
No, but the original take, as far as I'm concerned, is the fact that he's a side character who's now being thrust into the spotlight, and that aspect is kind of intriguing.
In the 70s, they changed the title of Captain America's comic book to Captain America and the Falcon. That was literally the title of the book when I started reading Captain America comics in the 70s. So he's always been there, but he always had his own identity. He was not Captain America. He was the Harlem street fighting guy. And I realized the MCU is different. They really played up the whole paratrooper idea, and that he's not an inner city superhero vigilante like he is in the comics.
And let's face it, Red Wing was better as a droid than as an actual bird.
I actually thought that Red Wing as a bird was cooler because it was a telepathic link, and again, I can understand why they made the change, but it seems like they were setting this up all along, and I just didn't think that was the direction it should go. I think Sam's better as a Falcon.
See, the way I would have done it is I would have tried to introduce Sam Wilson's Falcon before bringing back Bucky, because since they basically introduced him in the same movie, it kind of threw it up in the air of who was going to become Captain America. We knew that Steve Rogers wasn't going to remain Captain America, but because both Bucky and Sam had been Captain America at one point, it was like, who's going to do it? And in all honesty, as much as I like the idea of Sam Wilson's Captain America, Bucky probably would have been the more logical choice because it would have redeemed his character arc a lot better.
I don't think he ever truly wanted it the way they were portraying Bucky in the movies. That's just my take on that. My biggest issue with Falcon and the Winter Soldier was, God's honest truth, was just the fucking antagonist, that they were trying to humanize her too much. And I'm just like, no,
I think it was the exact opposite. I think they made a good antagonistic or protagonist villain out of her. And then they made her do dumb shit really evilly for just the evils. And that is the same thing they did with when we were talking about Game of Thrones. They just made the main character just start doing really stupid evil stuff for the sake of being evil, so we would demonize them. She was better written as a villain protagonist.
Well, like she had an option at redemption and she didn't take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I just felt like, well, there were so many issues I had with that. But then again, you got to remember, guys, I spent 18 years fighting, dealing with the Iraq war. So I don't exactly have a very good, I don't exactly have a very easy way of humanizing anybody who's a terrorist. It's just not me.
Well, remember, one person's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter.
I know.
There are certain tactics though that do brand you as a terrorist, regardless of what your goal is. But the thing that stood out to me in Falcon Winter Soldier was the John Walker Captain America / U.S. agent.
Yes, and I thought that was well done.
I thought he was. I'm actually looking forward to seeing him again because in the story that comic that was taken from was a run in the 80s where for about a year the government literally strips Steve Rogers of the title and the shield of Captain America and gives it to somebody who will, who won't run off with the Avengers, that they can actually use. And the guy they picked was John Walker, who was a sociopath. He turned out to be not the right guy for the job, but he was physically superior to Captain America, though.
But he also got redeemed after he became U.S. agent, which was a good arc.
Well, yeah, he got redeemed a little bit, but then another writer would grab the character and make him irredeemable again. So but the character that we saw on the show, I kind of liked because he was the guy that they handpicked, and he is kind of a douchebag, and he's the son of Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. I don't know if anybody knows that or not, but that's the actor who.
How could you not tell?
Yeah. And I did like it, when one of the things that's clever that they did in this in Falcon Winter Soldier was they established that the Power Broker had a refined version of the Super Soldier serum that didn't require a Vitarate treatment, and it didn't change your appearance, because you got to remember when Steve Rogers took it, obviously he went from being a frail, man to a buff guy. And the refined version that the Power Broker, synthesized didn't do that. So that way, Walker could secretly take the serum, and you wouldn't necessarily know it until he started doing things that he shouldn't be able to do, with the shield and such. So yeah. But he's on the poster for the new Thunderbolts movie that's supposed to come out in 2 years.
Well, I'll be honest, I haven't looked at any of the new stuff that you were talking about because I like being surprised.
Right. Well, I'm not crazy about the Thunderbolts. It doesn't look like they're actually going with the original premise, but at the same time, you got Winter Soldier on the team, you got douchebag Captain America, you got
Abomination.
No, he's not.
I don't think Abomination was on the roster.
Oh, I thought he was. I thought that was the whole. He was in the comics. I figured that's why they introduced him in Shang-Chi or whatever it was.
They probably have him in Shang-Chi, but he's not on the poster, and he wasn't in the comics as a member of the team.
Neither was Deadpool, which was disappointing.
Yeah, they had like the new Black Widow. They had Red Guardian from the Black Widow movie, the Russian Captain America knockoff, and also a couple of villains from the Ant-Man movies. They had the Ghost chick, and I can't remember who else. I don't have that in front of me, but that's that. So the original premise of the Thunderbolts was they were villains who were masquerading as superheroes. The Avengers were off planet, essentially doing something in space, and they left Earth like unprotected for like 6 months, and their the Masters of Evil, who are the Avengers, primary bad guys in the comics, or at least they were, decided to reform, and they changed they all got cosmetic surgery. They all changed their costumed identities, and they came out as the Thunderbolts, and they were and that was the big reveal at the end of the comic. The first issue was they pulled their masks off, and they revealed their real names, and so it was a real legit shocking surprise in a comic that we hadn't had in a while. But in this movie, it looks like what they're doing is they're just having this new government controlled version of the Avengers that's named after Thunderbolt Ross. What's his face? William Hurt's dead now, so he can't really play General Ross anymore, or Secretary Ross, as he was called later. But I think that's what they're probably how they're rolling with the movie.
Whoa, William Hurst is dead?
William Hurt is dead, yes.
William Hurt died?
Yeah.
How he did? How did I not hear about that? Oh, fuck, he died back in March. How did I not hear about that? What the fuck? I didn't know he was dead.
Yeah.
Now, because of his importance when it came to the creation of the Thunderbolts, are they actually going to try to recast him?
No, the movie version is. I think that the movie version is going to say that it was all his idea. I don't know if they're going to recast him or not, but the comic book version, Thunderbolts, had nothing to do with General Ross. They were created by Baron Zemo, who is in the MCU. We saw him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which there's that. But I think they're keeping the name, but they're changing the premise. And since again, in the comics, they did all kinds of weird things with Ross towards the end there. They turned him into the Red Hulk, and
I always hated that idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much better as just this egomaniacal general in the army, But
well, I never thought of. Oh, that was weird. My entire screen just turned green. But I never thought of him as quite like a maniacal villain, except for when he was obviously being played as that. I always thought of him more as he was doing everything he could to protect people, but he just was going around it in the wrong way.
Yeah. In the movies, he was the head of the project that the Hulk was, created inadvertently by, and he wanted, to essentially dissect Banner and turn him, and use it for a bioforce enhancement, type of deal. And so it's a little bit different. In the comics, Ross was the head of the base where Banner built the gamma bomb. That's what Ross was interested in. He was interested in weapons, and the Hulk became this nuisance / obsession.
Walking natural disaster.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, he didn't want to necessarily use the Hulk as a weapon or anything, or divulge the secrets. He just wanted to destroy the Hulk.
Yeah,
that was and part of the reason also was because the Hulk's alter ego was in love with his daughter, and you can't have that. So it was much more of a base hatred. And when Jack Kirby drew General Ross ranting and raving, he gave him Hitler poses. It was very obvious who Ross was who they were evoking there. Ross was just an interesting character, and then the Red Hulk I thought was stupid.
Well, I would say both Red Hulks were stupid.
Yeah, there were two. You're right.
The female Red Hulk was still stupid.
Oh, Red She-Hulk. Yeah.
There was a Red She-Hulk? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It was Betty, Hulk's love interest.
Which was really stupid because back in the 70s, she got exposed to gamma rays and became a creature called the Harpy.
Mm-hmm.
Who was
I remember
green.
that.
but she, you know, the thing about the Red Hulks is they're not created by gamma rays. They're created by cosmic rays, which is the same thing that the Fantastic Four made them change.
Miscellaneous phlebotinum.
Yeah.
This is
It's a
why
different-
I got out of comics a long time ago. You just can't keep up with this shit.
Yeah, you can't. It's and then you get, you know, a really great writer and then a shitty writer afterwards who sabotages the whole thing, you know, and wants to retcon everything the previous really good writer
Yeah.
did and not build off.
Yeah,
of
that
it.
was a great run, but I want to put my own spin on the character.
Well, I'll
Right.
tell you one that I thought was really well done, and that was J. Michael Straczynski when he did his Spider-Man run, and he introduced the quote-unquote mystic element of Spider-Man's powers, which, because you could take it either as he's actually has mystic elements or he doesn't, because even he doesn't take it as that. And when he defeats the villain, he uses the radioactivity in his blood, provided originally gave him his powers, as his weapon. That was really well done. But then you do something like freaking One More Day, which to this day still pisses me off.
God, you had to bring that up.
Well, that was all Joe Quesada get upset about his divorce. That's why that happened.
Yeah.
You know?
And making his daughter, he basically turns his daughter into the new love interest for Peter Parker, because fuck that.
Yeah.
Nah,
It's,
that was oh god. You had to bring up One More Day, one of probably my most hated storylines of ugh.
Yeah. And what's funny is when the new Spider-Man movie came out, and I first heard that they were basically going to try to adapt One More Day into it, I was like, oh my god, how are they going to fuck this up? They're going to ruin Spider-Man for the rest of the, for the rest of the century if they do this. And
the
somehow
movie
they
version
not
was
only
way better.
pulled off an adaptation of One More Day, they did it in a way that was respectful to freaking fans. I don't know how they did that.
Yeah, well,
they did that because of
the last two Spider-Man were in there, plus most of their best villains. And, that was a treat.
Yeah, you had Andrew Garfield, and you had God.
Yeah, but what I mean is, one of the things that everyone hated about One More Day was the whole trading of MJ and Peter's relationship for, erasing Spider-Man's identity.
No. Actually, Mike, I think you're actually incorrect on that one. It was originally to save Aunt May, and
yeah, but they included that.
MJ whispered that in his ear.
Yeah,
as an addition to the deal.
But that was from a outside the comic book perspective. That's one of the reasons they did it.
Yeah, it's just okay. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's kind of like Spider-Man and MJ is like Superman and Lois Lane.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you trying to fight this?
Well, I'm of the opinion that most superheroes should not get married and have kids.
Why not?
Most.
The only example that has worked, as far as I tell, is Fantastic Four, when Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman got married and had started having kids. That worked because the whole premise of the Fantastic Four is a family.
I agree.
Actually, that was.
But I do think that Spider-Man's marriage and relationship worked because, he starts off as a teenager and it's him, growing as a character. What Joe Quesada did was basically try to flip the switch to bring him back to that point. And the problem is he's had 30 years of character development that was erased overnight.
Well, do you also, if you don't also know, one of the reasons why, and if you hear that in the background, it's because my wife is having a relaxing time mowing the lawn. I swear to God, the entire fucking summer, I haven't even touched the lawnmower. She's been like, nope, I'm mowing the lawn.
Oh, I have newfound respect for you. Yeah, make her work. Shit.
Make her work? She fucking took it over. She took it from me.
Are you going to mow the lawn?
No, she doesn't want me to mow
Never
the lawn.
mind.
She wants to fucking do it. We got this 0-turn lawnmower on 1.5, almost an acre and a half of land, and she's like, "I'm gonna go mow."
I can tell
Okay.
you that the choice to age Spider-Man into college was not one that was taken lightly at Marvel offices. Stan Lee's talked
Mhm.
about this, that there were extremely strong arguments for and against it. But the real catalyst for it was when Steve Ditko, the original artist,
Mhm.
left Marvel, and they hired John Romita Sr., who is a good artist. But the thing is, he couldn't draw Peter Parker in the same sort of gangly, odd-looking, nerdy-looking character. He had to turn him into a good-looking and decidedly older-looking character who smiled a lot, had toothpaste smile and everything. So that was part of the reason why yeah, it was controversial. There's a lot of people who thought though that they should have kept him as a 20 something, in a college age 20 something, and
Well,
not
that was
aged him even further.
and then the other side of that was people were
Yeah.
like, "Why is he still in school? Look, we've seen him in high school, we've seen him in
Yeah.
college. When is he going to
Yeah.
break out from this?" And that was one of the catalysts for him and MJ finally getting married. And then, especially in the 90s, when you had, I thought that was actually some of the best writing because you had him being a superhero, you had MJ being a successful model, being a successful actress on a soap opera, and them both trying to balance their lives out. I was like, wow, shit, this is actually, especially being older now and being married and stuff, I actually found that to be more engaging. Kind of like the Fantastic Four when it's like, okay, we saved the day. Now Reed Richards and Sue Richards have to deal with the kids. Or
Mhm.
I'm sorry, the kid, because she had one kid and one miscarriage, if I'm
Right.
not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And I
Yeah,
remember,
there's
and real quick, Darren, I was just going
sure.
to say, I remember one of my favorite what ifs, which was really one of my favorite comics back in the day, was what if, Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Girl's daughter lived, which saved the world to destroy it. And it was two stories, one where she literally kind of comes close to destroying the world, and another one where she's actually like almost a Jesus like figure. And I thought it was a very well written comic. Actually, if I could ever get a physical copy of it and find out the number, I'd love to have it.
Yeah. See, again, some characters I think are better to be kept in effective stasis, and others, not so much. And
Well, I'll
I
give you an example. I was sorry for interrupting you, Darren, but I was checking out because I wanted to see how old Batman was because he's one of the ones that they keep going back to over and over and over again.
Mhm.
And according to DC, he's officially 40 years old as of right now,
Yeah. Mhm.
meaning that everything that has occurred in the last nearly 100 years of Batman has occurred in a 14-year time span.
Well, isn't that what
That's okay.
Marvel also did?
Well,
See, there's
Marvel's
nothing
kind of
wrong
done
with
this thing where
keeping.
they try to say that each comic book year, every 5 years in real world is 1 year of comic book time.
Yeah, I thought that was the case or something like that.
Unless the run is bad, and then they forget about it completely. But I don't have a problem with superheroes remaining in a state of stagnation in terms of, sort of being frozen in time. I don't have a problem with that. They're the kinds of characters in the kind of medium where that makes sense. And for example, one of the worst things that they did, Wolverine. There was a story with Wolverine, right? Where Wolverine's going after this bad guy on a remote island somewhere, and he breaks into this fortress, and he's being confronted by all of these assassins who also have claws like him, not adamantium, but the bone kind,
Yeah.
and they all have healing abilities, and he kills them all. and we're talking like dozens upon dozens of these assassins, and he figures that somebody's making clones of him or whatever, and he gets to the bad guy, and the bad guy goes, no, all of those people you just killed were your children.
I remember that one.
You've been dropping litters in every corner of the world for 100 years, and they all wanted to. And so how exactly am I supposed to root for this character now? That went to such a dark place, and there is such a thing as going to too dark a place with a superhero, even one like Wolverine, who is generally darker than the average. And they just started having every superhero started having kids, or what they would do is they would reveal that they had kids. So in these old comic books that were made for kids, in between the panels, there was all this hanky panky going on that you didn't see, and a lot of people just do not like that, especially the long time readers of those comics, and retcons in general. There's a risk every time you do a retcon. Retcon stands for retroactive continuity.
Yeah.
And they've been handled well, and they've been handled not so well. DC was the first big company to do a huge retcon in 1986, and it was largely successful, but it didn't. Yeah, it didn't solve all the problems that they wanted it to solve, but it did do pretty okay. They got a huge bump in sales from it as well.
And sorry, I would disagree. I would say that the Flash of Two Earths was when they first did their first major retcon.
Yeah, but the first major retcon is Crisis on Infinity Earths.
Well, that was the first major reboot of the universe. The first major retcon, as I said, was Flash of Two Earths.
Okay.
Because that's when they
retcon event.
That everything that came before occurred on a separate Earth.
Right. Yeah, right. You're absolutely right. But yeah, I was referring to a retcon event. So I didn't.
Reboot.
You're absolutely right, though.
No, Mike. A reboot and a retcon are two different things.
Yeah, but Crisis on Infinite Earths was a reboot of the entirety of the universe.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically an even larger retcon.
Mm-hmm. Right.
No, I would disagree with that, because I deal so much in the Star Wars EU. Before Disney bought it, I understood how retroactive continuity worked, or retcon was working with them. But yeah, Crisis on Infinity Earth was a full-on intentional reboot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I have the 1986 Man of Steel that was the retelling of the origin of, Clark Kent, Superman, Kal-El, and then I have the Batman Year One.
Yeah, those are my favorite versions. Those are my favorite versions. Oh yeah,
they were so great, weren't they?
Yeah. They still work today. I mean, they even though they're set in the 80s, they still largely work today. And there's a lot of stuff, especially from John Byrne's Man of Steel, that was carried over into several origin stories in other media as well. But the Bruce Timm Paul Dini Superman origin from the cartoon they did is a close second for me. But
yeah,
good stuff.
The Paul Dini era of the DCAU, I think a lot of that was really well done.
Yeah. Well, they created a whole new style called Dark Deco, and all it basically was Art Deco, but with darker tones to it. And their version of Gotham was so well done in that regard. Yeah. And then they carried it over and just made Metropolis the light version. So Metropolis was streamline Art Deco, or what they call now streamline modern, their cities, so that they were distinctive, yet you could kind of see that they belonged in the same world. I thought that was great. But yeah, the 1986 reboots of most of their characters, Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli, that Batman Year One 4-issue story that retells the origin of the modern Batman is also my favorite. Mazzucchelli is one of my favorite Batman artists, because essentially what he did was he used the Adam West costume, but used it in a very serious story. I mean, I've always preferred Batman with smaller ears to the super long ones that, you know.
Yeah, I've always thought the medium-sized ones seemed to work best.
Right. Yeah. But usually it's like Neil Adams, for example. I mean, okay, that works, but the Frank Miller, David Mazzucchelli ones, I think, are more reasonable.
When his ears suddenly become twice the length of his head.
Yeah,
and,
that
it's
was
like
kind of annoying.
Why aren't people grabbing those ears
Yeah.
and using them when he fight? You know, it's
He's
like
not Batman. He's Bunny Man.
right. Yeah.
Like I said, just for you, Darren, talking about post-crisis.
All right. Well, things are getting a little crowded around here, at least at the house. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream, but I'm gonna end the stream by playing the video one more time. So everyone, go ahead and say your goodbyes.
Goodbye.
Take care, everybody. See you at Birds.
All right. And Bird, go ahead and post your link in the chat while I play the video.
Thank you.
Later, folks.
That was good.
Good. Hello?
I'm ending it now.
Oh.
Want to let the video play all the way through.